all dressed up and nowhere to be, like beating drums. Your heart never sleeps. We've been dancing all night, dancing machine from the club to the floor of your limousine. Yeah, hey, I love all your nuances. I love all your nuances. Forgive me if you too honest, girl, that booty humongous, baby, you must do lunges. And up top, two congas. Girl, you rarer than a blue comet. I'ma keep it a million like two commas. I wanna beat it up like Ali, Muhammad. Girl, you're too dope, you're too chronic. You keep it 200, two piece, that's two freaks, that's two gins and two tonics. Who run it? No genre, you dumb. And she loved the whole crew, so she paid the crew homage. Smelling like new money, KL, the Joe Bird. We just played a few countries. Get out your seat, hit the flow, put your groove on it, girl. You're all dressed up and nowhere to be, like beating drums. Your heart never sleeps. Dancing all night, dancing machine from the club to the floor of your limousine.
What's good, everybody? What is good? We had a little bit of a rough start. Turn up a couple of things. Get up in here. What's good, everybody? What is good? Welcome, of course. Welcome, of course, to an episode of Opinionated with yours truly. I am your host, Resla, and we're going to be having a bit of a topic which is considered to be how people should be raising their children, or rather, I should say, the aspect of are we raising our kids to be It's fragile. This is a conversation about the quote parent dilemma, and I think it was something that I wanted to get into. Now, what sparked on the idea of having this particular conversation was I was watching a panel last night. Seemed like it was a bit of a collaboration between content creator of Sarah, the Raging Tomato, and also Flow State, which was a long stream. There's lots of different panelists that came up, shared their opinions, had different talks, and then even one, I think her name was Melina, and then also there was Neve, and they started having a conversation which dived into a whole big issue that I won't even really jump into because that's not really the crux of this conversation, but rather the idea of this thing that we do when it comes to parenting. And I'm going to say it as someone who is not a parent himself, but has been, of course, around a lot of people who have been parents. And then as people who are parents or not parents, is important to the building, whatever, we can have that conversation as to what your particular takes on it as well. If you're not, if you're new to the channel, you're not necessarily new to everything that's going on here. Cool. But if you are, then let me just tell you that this channel is about critical thought, is about thought-provoking conversations, sometimes a little controversial, wow, controversial, a little bit thought-provoking, but most of all, the idea is to give critical thought back to individuals because that's we happen to serve a lot of these social media streets, whether you are a TikToker, whether you are a Twitcher, whether you are a YouTuber, and you listen to your favorite content creators, we do over time take in subliminal messaging that will have us in an area where we might be able to be indoctrinated. So when you're opening your mouths out here in the streets, whether it's your family, your friends, your favorite coworkers, are the words that are coming out of your mouth truly the opinions of your own, or are they of the things that you've been hearing for a long period of time? With that being said, let's just get a little bit into the issue at hand. If you're not too used to it, I like to lay down the groundwork of what I'm thinking, how I came to this concession, and then after that, we have actual conversations with everybody else in the building. Um, Before we even get a little bit started to that, I know we're a low level channel as we get into it, but I always like to thank everybody who walked into the building. And first and foremost into the building is the lovely Yvette Marie. Thank you for showing up. We'll see as it is. It's Friday, so not everybody's thinking about being online right now because they out wasting their money because they got their paycheck. They look at the weekend as the time to do everything they want to do and not necessarily think about their future. It is what it is. We've all done it at some point of our lives, or we're still doing it now. But we'll see what it is and how everybody comes into the building later on. Now, this issue is one that will plague people for the ages because, quite frankly, everybody who has parents, who have children, and those who don't have children have this big conversation as to what they really want to do with themselves and how they want to raise their own children. And of course, there are the opinions are, and of course, the moment I go online is the moment I swear there were no ambulance trucks or no cop cars coming by. You can't really hear it. I can hear it. It drives me nuts. But people have this aspect as ideals, depending on where you are on the spectrum. Whether you want to say who are the persons that should be raising kids a particular way. We hear it in the education system. We hear about it from people who don't have children. We hear from people that do have children, which is why it's always become a rather controversial topic for a lot of people. And oh boy, this one's gonna get some people heated in there, and whatever their reactions are gonna be for sure. Lauren, Lauren, thank you for popping by. She is committed to keeping that profile picture. She is committed to it now. I love the conviction. Love it. And we're gonna be diving into this whole thing when it comes to, as I call it, the parenting dilemma. And we're going to be talking about how people are raising their kids, especially in the age today, but are we raising them to be more fragile? In my opinion, a bit. But times have changed to a point where I kind of see the reason for that. So, yeah, I said it. Are we, are the modern parenting approaches creating a generation of kids who are, let's just be honest, soft, weak, cannot handle the real issues when it comes to just being human and dealing with the human condition? Are kids being raised to be a little too protected, too coddled, and maybe a bit fragile? And it's a touchy subject for those who are parents or for those who are not, as they get into all these conversations. But we're here to really talk a bit about this subject today. And I like to do it, of course, as respectfully as possible. I know people are already getting their butts puckered. So, if you're a parent, if you're an aunt, if you're an uncle, if you're a teacher, or even if you're someone who just have very strong feelings about how kids should be raised in today's days, these days, I think you're going to be in the right place for tonight. And as always, I want to always say that for those who decide that they want to come up on the panel on the show for tonight, because I like to have my open lines after I lay down the groundwork. I want you to be inclined to not hold back, whether you are someone who chooses to be in the panel or someone who chooses to be in the chat. All right, all right, cool. Let's get into it. So we've all heard of the term helicopter parents, right? Parents who hover over their kids and they swooping in all first signs of trouble to try to solve every problem that comes up. They stop every fall and they get into every little thing, especially they want to bubble wrap their children and shield them from the world. The question is that doing more harm than good? Are we actually making our kids weaker by overprotecting them? And I think of the multiple videos that you can see all over social media about kids who are not kids who are getting picked on, to the kids who bully, to the massive amount of high school and junior high school fights that you can see online. You can take a look at it on Twitter, you can take a look at it on YouTube, you can see it everywhere. Then you see the ones where you have kids that are because they didn't have enough parenting, I'm just gonna put it straight out like that, are arguing and even cussing back and telling their parents what's what is what as young adolescents. There was a study from Psychology Today that says that kids today are more anxious and less resilient than past generations. And some researchers argue that it's because they aren't being raised to be allowed to have enough struggle, enough failure. The participation trophies, you get something regardless. So they're not experiencing enough failure, and they're not even allowed to get hurt like kids, like children. I would even say some of us in the millennial, even previous generations have. Back in my time, you could fall off your bike. You could skin your knees. You can cry. You can get back up, and you can do it all over again. Today's parents might be too quick to cushion every freaking fall, both literally and figuratively, when it comes to their children. But what do you think about that? Hmm? Are we stifling kids' abilities to be resilient? Drop your thoughts in the chat about that. Let me know what you think about that entire premise of how people are raising their children today. And as we get into that, I want to take a look as to what we look at as the helicopter parenting styles and the overprotection of those into it. And then I'll get into your thoughts later. So let's dive into this whole helicopter parenting thing. Is it because of fear? Are we going to say that parents are more scared today than ever before in the past? I mean, let's be honest. Between the 24-hour news cycles, and we have to look at social media as well, blowing up every incident, parents today seem more terrified of letting their kids out of their sight. There was a time where, and I'll even say within my time, that your parents pushed you out the house. They said, "Get the hell out there. You cannot be in this house all day. Get outside. Go do something. Go touch grass. Go make friends. Go do whatever. And you need to bring your butt back in here by the time those damn street lights come on." Now, that's not the case of parents. Parents with their kids indoors all the time and don't never want them to go outside. But we gotta ask the question: is it actually making them better, or is it making them worse? Now, I'll give them a little bit of credence. They have more to distract them being indoors than being outdoors now. Crazy thing to say, but we didn't have the instance of having the internet in our face and so many different media platforms, social and otherwise, to entertain ourselves. We did not. I grew up at a time where there wasn't the internet, and actually grew up with the internet. But with the kids who are coming up now, they grew up where the internet has always been a thing. So imagine this, because maybe you're a younger person that you grew up with the internet. Imagine this: 10 years ago, a 10-year-old wanted to walk into school, and a couple of decades ago, that would have been a normal thing, right? 10-year-old just wants to walk into school alone by themselves. I'm a big boy. I'm a big girl. I can do it. And the parents are just like, damn, they're growing up so fast. Today, today, some parents wouldn't even consider having their kids go to school by themselves without a GPS tracker, calling them every 10 minutes, texting them. Are they doing that out of fear? Are they making our kids dependent on them consistently? Are they really putting them in an area where they can become independent, or always needing constant and considerate supervision? Think about that for a moment. Let's just have that talk about overprotection. I get it. I get it for some parents, especially because the day that we are in today, we've got more information for all of the negative things that are taking place in the world today than any other time. It's good, CCD. Than any other time. Every parent wants their kids to be safe. But when does that go too far? When do we consider things to be too safe, or even to the point where parents are, quote, suffocating their children? They're stifling their children's growth. When do we let them experience anything without us managing every detail? How do they learn to handle life on their own? I think it's a decent question that needs to be really, really discussed. At least here. I know it's been discussed in other places with really no end at sight. But how exactly do we do that? You said less ambitious. Hmm. More entitled. Well, let me ask the question to you for that. Who's less ambitious and more entitled? Is it the parent or is it the children? This is a chicken and egg thing. Whose fault is it? Is it because the parents are more entitled to overbearing their freaking kids, overburden their kids with stuff because they didn't have to go through it themselves? Because also they're also lazy because they're entitled as to what they're able to do based on social media and how much control they have over other kids, because quite frankly they had less control or had more control based on how their upbringings were. It's a double-edged sword. Some people like to exert control over other people because, quite frankly, they never had it themselves. Because we still have plenty of parents, even to today, that love to have their children do the things that they wish they could have done. They like to live vicariously through their children. So, who's the one that's really entitled? Who's the one that's really less ambitious? It's just some food for thought. CZ, you said, what the F is going on? Bro, he just had to bring out everything that's going to decipher everything he's freaking saying. Going on shiz, cause I got to what? Yeah, bro. Can we do English? Can we do English? I'm not even gonna do what the hell the wit BDD. No, nope, we're not doing that. Nope, nope. We do English here. I'm not doing Ebonics in a chat. I'm not doing that, sir. You can rewrite that whole shit again. I'm not doing that. Don't truck the mud. Said the house. Listen, I'm not doing that. You laugh. I'm not trying to decipher English. Like, I'm not doing that in reading form. I'm not doing that shit. No, I tried and then I just said, "What the fuck am I doing?" No, immediately not. When was the last time someone kid actually stepped into the dog? I have no clue. I have no clue. None at all. I mean, let's talk about also this aspect of social media and the role of social media and how it's being used today when it comes to kids, parents and kids. When it comes to social media, I think it's a mixed bag. I mean, we can't really live in this conversation without really talking about social media and the impact that it has not just on kids but also on parents today. And I'm talking about parenting from influencers consistently in comparison to whose kids are more accomplished, whose kids are more insane. Because there's this pressure to be the perfect parent. Newsflash, you won't be. And in turn, raising the perfect child, again, they won't be. And let's look at the flip side when it comes to that. Are these expectations just adding to more fragility when it comes to how we look at the next generation of people. I think we get so coddled into as parents, we get to the outlook of how we would like our kids to look to be, how we would like our kids to look, that we don't think about how they need to be for the future. We think about how we need them to be for either themselves or ourselves. As someone, I'm saying ourselves because I'm just going to speak in general. I don't have any kids, but I'm going to speak in general. Let's play devil's advocate for a moment there. Think about it from the kids' perspective. With social media, kids are growing up in a world where every basic mistake is public. That's not something that adults necessarily had to go through. Every failure is captured on the lens. Every pressure is to be perfect, is to be within 4K, it's amplified. What kind of environment does this put out? And does this environment make them more fragile as well? They have more social pressure than the quote parents that they have. They're not their every action wasn't captured on screen. Their every action were not leaked online. Their every F ups were not doxed to their family members. Does social media make it harder for parents to let their kids go through struggles? What's your take on that? I'm asking you, what is your take on that? Are we setting them up for failure by not letting them fail? It's another question for you guys. Because we look at it on the end of people who did not have to worry about, or rather, not even not worry, but we don't take it on the social pressures that they have versus what we have. As older people, we really have a hard time looking at every aspect of what they go through because we tend to believe we've been through it all, and you have not. Because just like how the weather changes, just like how you can know it gets warmer, just how you know it gets colder, they experience it differently. You don't know everything. You don't know what they're going through. You have an idea of what they go through. Knowing someone and knowing of someone are not the same thing. And I think sometimes we really, as a human condition, conflate those two things. I know that person. No, you know of them. You don't know them. If you have not spent a significant time around them, if you have not had the actual conversations with them, you don't know them. Hearing somebody secondhand is not knowing them. Experiencing them firsthand is getting to know them. And I gotta be honest with you, there are a lot of parents that do not know their children. And let's talk about this thing about fostering independence versus actual overprotection. We let's just be honest. We all tend to know that part of growing up and learning how to take care of our mistakes and learning to make decisions, handling all the consequences that come our way, and facing the challenges, right? But if we learn that, why is it a big thing that we don't want our kids to make those same mistakes? We don't want them to learn from making those same kind of mistakes. I can bet you that everybody who is watching this, whether you catch it live now or whether you catch it in the back end, that you can think of your own personal anecdotal, relatable story of how you were grounded and how you made so many decisions for yourself. But can you say that you are raising your kids to make those same kind of decisions? I remember when kids, yeah, we're gonna go there, when I could be going all out in the day, riding my bike with my friends, no cell phones, Just the street lights and our curfew. No, no smartwatches. Just a regular digital watch. We had to figure all that stuff out on our own. But today, parents are afraid of letting their kids even leave the yard. Are we taking kids away from the ability of being able to solve problems on their own? Where's the balance between keeping them safe and letting them learn independence? Do you even want your kids to be independent? Because we are now hearing that there are children who are staying with their parents all the way up until their 30s and 40s, never leaving the nest. I remember the first time when I heard that your kids will stay on your insurance plan until they're 26. I was like, God damn, that wasn't the thing when I went to college. That wasn't the thing when I went to school. That wasn't the thing at all. That was a newer thing that happened at the tail end of my generation. I'm a millennial, by the way, in case you haven't figured it out. And honestly, could it be that overprotecting kids actually harms them more in the long run than ever exposing them to any forms of risk? Because if they never really experience failure, right, or any sense of danger, will they ever be will they ever be in a position to deal with the real problems of the real world later in life? You will not always be there. In fact, if you have not made them tough enough, they're going to be these people in their 30s and in their 40s that their entire life has broken down because simply it was time for you to pass away. These are the same people that say, well, my mom and my dad are gone. Who else is going to do my laundry? Because you never set them up properly. You expect these people to be the future, the ones who are, not for nothing, going to actually make lawmaking decisions for you. But based on what? They have no real hardship, they have no real life experiences. Now, what are some counter arguments? And the open dialogues that we tend to see a lot of different places? Because we have them all over the place. And before we even start feeling terrible like parents do, or like parents claim that they are, or even blaming the entire system. We like to blame the educators, right? But educators are only one part of the equation. What are some of the counter arguments that are made? Because they say that some people say that this sense of overprotection is just a response to the way how the world has changed. And to be honest with you, there's something to that. There is. But I also think that they believe that there's more to be afraid of today. Think about it. We have an abundance of news when it comes to predators online, predators in the streets, predators in your local neighborhoods. We got the threats of everything that has evolved, and we have the threats of parents not being able to trust other parents and trust even their own family members. But I'll invite this little question to you. What the hell's that noise? I'll invite this question to you. Are today's parents doing the right thing by trying to shield their kids from the scarier world, the boogeymen of everywhere? Or are they overprotecting to a risk that may be exaggerated? Is there a middle ground when it comes to how we can raise our kids in a safe but allowing them to still become strong? And I'll pose a final thought to the question. At what point Does protecting your kid cross the line into limiting their potential, limiting their growth? And how do we actually strike that right that right balance between the nurturing and enabling? I want you guys to really take the time to think about that. And as always, while you're thinking about it, while you're getting your thoughts together, link is, of course, in the chat. And you give me your thoughts. Pin to the top as well. And as I give you a little bit of time to think about it, I think I'm just gonna do the due diligence and I'm gonna read through the actual chat here, see what's actually going on in here. And in the meantime, let's do a little bit of promote for the team. How about that? Let's do that.
OG do dirty, flipping packs in the back, stuffing the blunt, fat stack, jet black Cadillac, stacks in the mattress, cash cow status, walk in the streets, heat talk, no practice, blood blazing, smoke hazing, OGs in the attic, crispy clean kicks, ain't nothing static, southern nights, trap dreams, raw matic, light it up, inhale the magic, erratic, down south, making moves, 808s, hit raw, sip the lean, slow the scene, outlaws on call, counting bills, run the grills, trap house ball, switches in the air, grandiose alcohol, dirty dope dreams, with the crew so mean, like some movie scene, trap king, royally king, purple haze phase, hazy days, cash in streams, hit the streets, beast mode, blitzy juice schemes, OG do dirty, leaning like the tower, got the power, hour after hour, living fast, mile high, never sour. Came up from the grid, dirty money flower. Blood blazing, smoke hazing, OGs in the attic. Crispy clean kicks, ain't nothing static. Southern nights, trap dreams, raw matic. Light it up, inhale the magic, erratic. OG do dirty, leaning like the tower. Got the power, hour after hour. Living fast, mile high, never sour. Came up from the grid, dirty money flower. Blood blazing, smoke hazing, OGs in the attic. Crispy clean kicks, ain't nothing static. Southern nights, trap dreams, raw matic. Light it up, inhale the magic, erratic.
Of course, if you guys didn't know, me and OG Do Dirty, we do a show every week. It's called The Drop by Discussions. You might go check it out. I should make a banner or something for that so that you guys actually get to see a little bit about what's going on. We do a show every week where we get into all kind of stuff. We talk about the effery. We talk about a little bit of serious stuff. Sometimes it goes into like people's thoughts, dating. It's a bit of a mixture. It's a very, very late night show. You can catch it. I should really make a banner or something for you guys so you can get that more in your head. It's I'm on Eastern time here in New York City. So it's about 1 a.m. my time. For him, it's 12 a.m. Central. So you can check that out. But you should really check it out. If you haven't really seen any episodes of the Dropout Discussions, you can catch it on my channel or even on OG Do Dirty's channel. I think it's a really good show. We've been taking off. We've been doing a few. Damn, I can't believe we're almost running up on 20 episodes now. If you haven't really seen it, check it out. You'll be having a lot of fun. We're really cutting it up. And then of course we always have new people coming in throughout the space who are discovering us all the time. So if you haven't actually got your feel of that yet, if you haven't actually joined the channel on that, be sure to do so. I think you're gonna really enjoy it. All right, gang. So this whole aspect of people who are raising their kids, right? And the reason why, like I said, I got to this early was a conversation that was taking place on a collab channel of Flow State and Sarah the Raging Tomato. And I don't really want to react to it. I just don't like to do that because I like to talk to different people, whatever, and I'm not really one to like incite too much of a conversation because it invites it invites the wrong kind of attention. I know some of you guys are interested in that, but that's not really what this particular channel is about. I like to have those personal conversations, and I thought it was really, really interesting as to how those conversations was going down. Lauren, you just said, "Oh." I mean, don't get me wrong, Lauren. If I find something interesting and I like to react to it and just give my own take on it, I will. But when you invite your reaction to other people's stuff, it brings forth a energy from the people who follow, which I don't have a problem with. But I mean, and anyone up here, anyone who looks at other people who do channels as well, you tend to know that people tend to believe that wherever they behave in one space, they bring it over to another space, and that's not what we do here. I don't run a channel for, quite frankly, debauchery. I, I I don't do it. We can talk about some things. Sometimes they get a little bit heated. People are very opinionated on their thing, but I think there are plenty of times where they take it to a whole extreme that just doesn't need to be there. Sometimes the idea of having entertainment is simply causing fights, and that's not healthy discussion in my point of view. Hey, Yvette, what's going
Hi.
on?
I
Hey,
just didn't want to leave you hanging up here by yourself.
hey, you know what? Regardless of whether you're up here or not, I'll be hanging regardless. So, so it's all right.
Good
Yo,
old wrestler. Good old
welcome,
wrestler.
welcome to the building.
Hi, Rock.
So yeah, I thought about whether I wanted to review it because there was so much happening, um, in that discussion, but I did not want to make the actual conversation about that discussion. So if I review it, I have no problem with it. I'm good with both Sarah and Flo. I'm good with both of them. I thought it was a very good thing. Neve brought up a lot of the conversation with how it got started, but it was just all over the place, and it was a bit contentious. And like I said, I didn't want to make the conversation about that because I know how one sided it could turn,
Hmm.
and then how many things can be picked out. So I want to be as fair as possible because for a lot of it, I will say that um, the person Melanie who had to hold their position was they were ganged up upon. That's not to say I'm supporting their position, but
Right.
I don't want to create a narrative that a person should be ganged up upon for having their particular opinions, whether it's agreed upon or not.
I mean,
Um,
you've experienced that yourself, where
I have, I have.
exactly it's normal. Unfortunately, in spaces like these, you get one person that not necessarily provocative, but just has an opposing viewpoint. For anything, it could be the most minor, insignificant thing, and everybody will dogpile on like it's the end of the world. Oh my god, how could you? And it's like, dude, all I did was I told you I parked my car in the driveway and not in the garage. How is that the end of the world? I mean, it.
Well, so I'll even say when I was listening to the conversation, I myself was like, "There's no way in hell I would vouch for such a position that Melanie took up." I'll even say that myself. And I had multiple angles of looking at it from the side of myself, from trying to place myself in the thought position of where Melanie was coming from on that analytical spectrum, but also the fact that both were having a conversation in regards to children, but also in reference to people who have children versus the conversation of someone who's looking at this on a researcher kind of basis who didn't have any children. Who are you to basically? try to say that this is going to be a safe route. And then it opened up another door for me that I'm not really sure if I want to give, because it kind of goes away from it kind of goes away and into a whole other rabbit hole that I didn't want to jump into. But there are a lot of stigmas for particular people who make these kind of cases and how it's looked upon, because not everybody within their community is painted with a good light.
Right.
And I know I'm being very vague in how I'm speaking about it, because like I said, the idea is not to further dogpile onto
Sure.
the situation itself. So
Sure.
that's why it seems like I'm being very vague, because I am. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Because I'm almost completely lost. So
And I mean, the only way I could give it more nuance is to really go about reviewing it. And
sure.
if I do so, not keep in mind, you know me.
Yeah.
I can be with the shits if I want to.
Right.
This is not a Tesla video.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah.
It's not, which means that look. You hear this? Yeah. So Lauren must know a little bit about it. She already with it.
Yeah, that confused me too. I'll let you guys have that.
Jesus Christ.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Like I said, I don't have a problem talking about it, but I know that the position, let me just say it this way, and I'll say it for me because other people don't have to feel that way. I would never want to put anyone who's watching in a position to think that it's my channel, it's the way I'm thinking, you're taking it from my perspective, that I know what's better, because me being up here, me having my own thought process can be uh, um, can put people in this idea of me knowing what's best, and it's not. Like I said, the entire point of things being very opinionated is that everybody has their own particular point. It's to try to understand why they got that way. At the same time, the conversation was rather provocative. It really was, and it can sway people one side. And I just don't think that the position, me personally, in my opinion,
Right. In your opinion, sure.
that it was represented in the best light by Melody. And that's just my thing. I would have no problem even myself having a conversation. Especially, I think it would be easier conversation with me and Melody, simply because of the fact that I'm more likely to listen. That doesn't mean that I agree. And also from someone myself, just like Melody, who does not have children.
Right. Okay.
I'm going to be patient with it because, quite frankly, I'll just say it straight up. I have no skin in the game. I want children. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I have no skin in the game, so therefore it wouldn't affect me the same way as I know it would affect, like, say, Flo and Sarah, who have children. I understood their position, don't get me wrong, but I just know it didn't affect me the same way, and also because I guess I can be a little bit heartless.
Right, but at the same time, they don't need to invalidate you either for your
Right.
perspective. Because I know when I'm in spaces, I get thrown that a lot too. I don't have any kids either, so I get thrown that all the time. Well, what would you know? You don't have any kids. Well, first off, you're right. I don't have any, but I did have a hand in raising quite a few kids, and
Same
asking
here.
for parenting advice. I come off just like a parent, like the next parent over here. The way I approach situations are exactly like a parent would, because I've had lots of practice being a parent, even though I haven't. I don't. There we go. That's the word I want to use. I don't have any children at this point in time. And unfortunately, a lot of us get invalidated. Oh, what do you know? What could you really know? It's like, we know more than what you think we know. We're not completely clueless. We didn't just drop in from another planet without knowing anything. So
Well, yeah, we can learn from other people's experiences. We can learn from what other people are saying and really think about it. And that's the whole point of having those conversations to be able to come to that point.
right.
But I gotta say, if you're going to take forth in a particular charge, if you're going to have particular discussions, then you need to put yourself in a space where you need to be able to communicate what you're saying in the in the most consent kind of point of view, to at least have people understand what your position is before immediately crushing you on it. And
Mm,
that's just simply what it is. And then it's a matter of having that conversation and then being emotionally ready for it. But that was
right.
another thing that fell apart a lot. And don't get me wrong, it's an emotionally charged conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not ready to have to have it, or to be in a position with people who are ready to have it, then but at the same time, I gotta say, Melanie was coerced to get into that. But at the same time, chose to accept. I'm not gonna take away any fault in it. Chose to further engage in it.
Yeah.
And that's why I would say good job on Need for manipulating that to actually go forward. Because there's no way, even if I had a very charged position like that, knowing who I was around, that I would have that conversation, knowing that to get dogpiled on like that. I mean, some people might say it's the bravery.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was. I think it was really stupidity that both jumped yourself to really go in there. You should have really been thinking about the people that you were around. Knowing your audience is very important.
Right.
Um, but it is what it is. Um, actually, like I said, Lauren may know a bit about it. She may have been there for it. Um, actually, Resto, I think Resto was also in the chat, so he may know a little bit about what was going on there as well. But I mean, shout out to Resto. He says, "You're
And he's a
uh,
parent, so he has a perspective we don't have.
who has a perspective."
Resto.
Uh, well, Resto would also, oof, Resto would also have a particular perspective. I don't know what his take on it would be. He
Right.
didn't, he wasn't like on panel or anything like that. But he's also a person who's married, has a child.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very very odd thing to see going on. I wholeheartedly welcome the actual talk, because you know me, I like controversial conversations.
Yeah.
But I just don't think it was represented well.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think it was. And as I sit and I say that now, I'm just trying to figure out what would be a safe way to represent it. Um, so again, I'm speaking all over the place. It seems like I'm like Jesus. I'm speaking in parables.
No,
Um,
you're good. You're. This is part of your process. It's fine.
because I kind of want to talk about it, but at the same time, I wanted to base my whole content away from it, just to talk about how parents have to look at things in general when it comes to the safeguarding and overprotecting of their kids. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just talk. I'm gonna mention what it is, and if I get a little bit wrong on it, sorry, I wasn't there to sift through every single word that they had. Um, I can tell you how I grasp the conversation, and if anything, if we need to really look it up to go through it, then we can do that, because I love the fact that you guys would get all the proper context as possible. Not for it to just be on what I said and it could be interpreted wrong, and now you're taking telephone basically.
Yeah.
But the concept was that apparently there was a conversation that Melanie had, maybe on even someone else's channel, not necessarily that one, where the concept of children being able to learn. This is gonna be so divisive. When children are learning early about sex,
Mm-hmm.
whether say like they're 8, or they're a little early in the game. I mean, we all get puberty at different times,
Right.
but the aspect of the safe way of having them understanding sex, and how should that be taken charge. Now, obviously, sex education has always been a very taboo thing, and some people get the proper lessons, some people don't. Some people
Right.
get it at school. Most people, I would say, don't get it from their parents. In my opinion, there was this whole aspect of if parents are taking charge of that, right?
Yeah.
How should they do it? And
Right.
this whole conversation of parents allowing kids to basically be by themselves with safe porn. Don't know what that is.
I was just gonna say, what is that?
I don't
Since
know what
when?
that is.
Since
Safe
when?
porn, where they're able to get out those things so they can be more, uh, um, I guess, more productive rather than looking through porn on their own and going down that big rabbit hole of porn. Because if you look at one thing, you start spiraling into other things, as they say. And it was a really difficult conversation. If I go back and I look for it, I don't even know where to start to find it.
I guess I can see how that would make sense, but in practice, it sounds like it would be very confusing.
It was a it was very, like I said, if there was any clarity to be made off of it, I don't think it was brought forth in a very good manner. And
Mm-hmm.
then again, you were bringing it on into a panel who would be very hard set one side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because because if it was just a matter of opinion and it was in a thought process, it's one thing. It became an opinion piece as this would be, not should, not could, would be, as in a fact. It would be the proper way to actually help safeguard those things. And then there was a matter of, how do we monitor that? If the kid's going to be alone, and how would you get the study results for it unless someone is actually monitoring them? And now you're monitoring young kids being experienced with porn, safe porn. What does that mean?
I
Safe
don't, I,
porn.
I don't, I don't think that would safeguard as much as they think it would. That's what I think. I think it's just to help the parents feel better, knowing that the fact that that's gonna happen.
It did not make anyone feel better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the
Oh
only thing
gosh,
I
here we
know,
go.
but the only thing I can think of. But I mean, I can't really see that working at all.
And Resla
Like,
already says himself. He says, Resla, that fox is a weirdo, bro. That's like not how they think that way.
like
I was in
when
that
I
same
was
camp. I
younger.
was really trying to listen. I was really trying to listen because I wanted to give people the benefit of the doubt. Because the truth of the matter is that I don't know what I don't know. And if it sparks a very interesting thought process in my head, I'll follow it. But I was not with it. I'll be honest with you. Go
Because
ahead, Yvette.
truthfully, I was exposed to stuff like that young. I found a collection in my house when I was younger. Ooh, what's this? Oh shit. Whoa, what is that? And that took my psyche to the weirdest freaking places, even though it was just normal, regular, everyday stuff. There's nothing weird about it. There was not like nowadays it wouldn't be considered anything, like really. But when I saw it at the age that I saw it messed up my head. Like, and I don't know how this safe stuff would work. Just knowing what I was exposed to, which is like I said, very tame, very
I mean, look at
average,
today's
even.
age. Yeah. Look at today's age. What would be considered safe? You have people that's out there freaking they're still talking about gangbang. We're talking about girls. And by the way, girls talking about being blacked. Okay. So you got that. Then you have the whole stepdad, stepsister stuff going on, and all. And these are the things that you can just easily just hear about from
Mm-hmm.
anyone all over these streets.
Right.
How exactly are you going to run across anything safe when it literally goes to every stream as possible in order to get you to take a look at it? Because porn is also a sense of media.
Mm-hmm.
It is meant to captivate and stimulate minds and be as entertaining as possible, even though it is misleading. Oh, actually, so I found the timestamp from the beginning of it. So I'll let them explain it better
Okay.
than I, so we can hear from their actual words and how they got started.
Okay. Fair use. Fair use. Fair use.
Listen, it's about the conversation, guys. It's not about dog piling on anyone. It's to have the conversation as to how this started and how we think as individuals, because we do critical thought here. And if you agree, guys, do not dogpile them on the chat. I want to know what their authentic thoughts are. And if you feel like this is something you need to say, hit the link. Hit the
This
link.
cast of characters up here on the screen that just screams something. Nothing normal, that's for sure.
Okay. Again, even when you have a talk with people that you are on the screen with, a cast of characters, you have to be very aware of who you're speaking with. What is the thing I always say all the time? When you get online, you get on a panel, be mindful of what you say, because when you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. So, all right. So let's go with this.
Well,
you know what debate of yours? You know what debate of Mel? Do you know what debate of yours that I really, really enjoyed was the debate between you and Sick Unchained. Do you know what debate I'm talking about?
Not particularly.
What was your position in that debate, Mel? Do you want to tell everyone, or should I tell them?
I don't remember, so sure. I guess you can tell people that.
Well, I think that you and Sick Unchained had a very, very, very strong, disagreement around the idea of introducing children to pornography, and that was something that you defended and actually proposed for the discussion. You thought that there was some sort of remedial benefits to doing that, and Sick was very, very very disgusted by the idea that you would even consider that, right? So that was a really interesting.
So we already got the gist of that, right? We're talking about introducing children to pornography, and that there's apparently supposed to be a study for that. I would love to actually take a look at the study. Like I said, I didn't want to do any deep diving. I didn't know I was going to talk about this, or you know me, I would have already done my research. I would have done my research. I would have already had stuff to pull up.
That's not something Kinsey already done in his sick mind.
I can't say. I cannot say. Dahlia says
he's done some pretty crazy stuff.
Listen, Mel, you're right. You're absolutely right, Dahlia. Melly did also say that we need to do scientific studies on it, but who was gonna volunteer their kids for that? And then there was the whole aspect of, well, the kids are gonna be in on their own studying. No, there has to be someone who's watching them. That's the only way the study could be done. Even when they tried to bring up the whole aspect of blind studies and everything, the conversation really went. It was a very long and very intense conversation. It was a very difficult conversation.
Oh my God, this is bad already. Because to do scientific studies, in order to prove your research, things like that, they do things like recording, and then we start talking about CP. And no, stop.
This was a conversation that was very hard to have, and to be honest with you, there was no real non-biased moderation. It was a very difficult conversation. I understand, because the conversation was not planned. It just kind of happened. Nee brought it up, and it flew off, and there was no real thoughtful consideration as to really the people that you're having the conversation with. I personally, if that conversation came up, I would have been like, yeah, I'm gonna stay quiet. I probably wouldn't have left the panel just to hear it, but I would have stayed quiet. There's no way I would have thought about really giving my opinion. But Lego, let's hear more.
Interesting debate. Do you feel like you won?
Today, I made a very strong case for there can be a proper setting, an appropriate place and time to
Spark notes it.
To what?
To
do what? Yeah, to do what? Sorry.
So I think that sometimes there are kids with kind of overactive imaginations who are seeking those kind of sensory stimulation. And when we recognize that they're over-sexualized, we can address that between family and physician, B, bring them to a specialist. That way they're in a proper clinical setting, and C, make sure they only have access and exposure to it kind of when they're in private. But like, it's also, they understand that like, we're not encouraging you to look at porn. We're saying like, this is kind of like
doing it for you. Here, take your porn medicine. We got this kid who keeps wanting to get his dick sucked. The only treatment for it is to get a bunch of porn. Get mom and get the doctor, and let's take him and show him porn together. You
know what a precocious puberty is?
I don't. What is it? I can't imagine that it matters.
Really
They're all doing it more and more now.
Kids who are 8 and should be starting their puberty are like.
I went through puberty at like 10 or 9. I was very young. So what?
Well, that's a long time to be left with sexual urges and have no real way to like understand how to use them. I'm not saying again that we're encouraging them to use their sexual urges.
No, that is specifically enabling.
Okay, so let's dive into the wording of that, right? for kids who are being brought up with sexual urges and giving them essentially an outlet to being able to unpack that. And keep in mind, I will even say that there were ages that were mentioned as early as 8 years old.
The culture doesn't help it either.
It doesn't. But let's
Because
be
when
honest.
they're in diapers and they're learning to twerk, I mean that's messed up too. I mean
Well-
it all snowballs.
Well, as two people who do not have children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say it this way: if you were going back to your young self, say, I'll leave 8, 9 years old, and you gain the slight understanding of sex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest, this is all human beings. This is something that doesn't change about any human being, doesn't matter on what spectrum of the world you are.
Right.
Curiosity is an innate programming in human beings.
Right.
So some people lose it early. Some people are put in particular situations where they don't learn. It's forced upon them. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about the people who learn these things.
Right.
If you had become curious about it at the very early age, pre-double digits, would it really stop you from being curious enough to do about it? And then on top of that, if you were placed in a position where you're able to explore that, how would you say that you would be getting better in the long run?
It would not stop anything, I don't think. And as for getting better, all that would happen is they would desensitize themselves, where things get better to a point and then decline, never to be regained again.
So Uncle Fatty says safe prawn. You mean like Sports Illustrated? So this was actually something that Flow State actually mentioned. That he mentioned finding his dad's magazine or whatever, and I guess that was something that was considered safe. I'm happy that you brought that up, but because you were only limited to the magazine's pages, you couldn't necessarily deep dive into other genres or other things. So that was considered somewhat safe. But let's be honest, who are magazines even put out anymore? When's the last time that anyone saw a Playboy magazine?
But at the
Be
same
honest.
yeah, video is easiest to find nowadays.
I mean, video content, even like what we're doing now, is the thing that's pushed forward now because they're trying to get rid of audio, even though audio does really well because no matter how you look at it, people like to be entertained while still being busy,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't do that while watching someone.
Right.
You know? So yeah, how exactly do we think about people who are being exposed early or coming to have the imagination early and they being exposed to it? So now they're no longer having an imagination. They have what was theory and now it's practical and now they want to explore it. The idea of thinking that, well, if we just get it out of their system, if we give them some semblance of practicality, it will stop them from therefore exploring. And I don't know human beings to be like that whatsoever. Not at all. Not even a little bit.
It's just gonna be a deal no matter what. No matter which side you're on, it's gonna be a sticky wicket. Sorry for the sorry for this.
Nice little
Yeah, I do.
All right.
That, but yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, we are already at a point where we know kids are experiencing and understanding sex much earlier. I
Right.
won't speak for you, but for me, I lost as early as 12.
Mm-hmm.
12.
Nope. For me, flip those two numbers. That's when I did. But I was well aware of it by like 9, 10. Well aware.
Well, someone thrust her hips upon me.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I learned. And I gotta tell you, it did not make me think that this was an experience that was, oh, okay, cool. And now I learned what it is and it is what it was. No. Like any other drug, I became an addict.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Zoomer just said it right in time. No cure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's see how they want to articulate this one.
Them an outlet. That way it's
Right.
not turning into more like intense,
I
isolated
can't think
sexual
of
urges.
anything more intense and deviant than having two adults take you in the back room and show you porn because it's your medicine.
Well, the child would be alone.
All right, weirdo. Don Juan wanted me to read Glenn's last comment. Glenn's last comment said, Don Juan, when he stops pretending he is Andrew Tate with the kickboxing BS. Now, I recognize you two are probably fighting in the chat, so I don't necessarily understand the entirety of the comment, but cheers to you, Don Juan, for paying for that one. Thank you for the $1.99. And
So, Zoomer, I understand the logic, but it's also a fallacy in believing that it would desensitize. It would not. It absolutely would not desensitize whatsoever. It would only enhance. I don't know anyone that turns around and once they desensitized to quote a sexual experience that they just turn around and like, yeah, no, not really for me. Most people will turn around and still engage in it at some point of themselves. Or let's just look at the inverse. They tend to only explore more. They get desensitized to the things that they're interested in, and they explore other aspects of it, other aspects of having sex. This is how you get those who just want to not just really missionary anymore. Now I want to do this. Now I want to do that. Now I want to get into BDSM. Now I want to get into it. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond that.
And old Sarge Finkel comes in. Bad joke. No cookies for Flo.
I think on a more macro level, we look at like
I've never
the
gotten any of
participation.
his cookies anyway. Good.
So looking at the way that like trans people interact online, like you could see the things that I do, and I'm antagonistic and I'm rude, and I tell people how I feel for sure. But if you're looking at how people are contributing to the overall narrative of how trans people operate, there's me, right? Kind of cunty for sure. At the end of the day, lack of a better word. And then there's you defending or propagating these sorts of weird opinions that then feed into the ultimate idea that we're all growers, we're all X, Y, and Z, right? So you kind of see
Only
how
if you want it to.
Well, you unfortunately have done yourself. You will cater to the delusion that you are removed from those consequences. But other people in your community are not.
You just know it's safe, Zoomer.
Sorts of discussions, right? Like a lot of other people are going to be, victim to the sorts of dumb fuck shit that comes out of your mouth.
Well, I think the ability for bad faith right-wing I think the ability for bad faith right-wing actors to rebrand into something
I'm
bad.
a complete moderate, and I think everything you said was disgusting.
Cool.
Every single part. So don't appeal.
Cool.
Sorry. So trying to do the whole right-wing boogeyman thing here. I don't want to necessarily ask. I don't want to ask.
Without.
Well, your argument is that sometimes kids show early signs of what you used the specific example of precocious puberty, right? But that the solution to whatever sort of proposed solution, a feasible alternative to what is showing kids sexualized content early. Like, how do you not see that as like
to having
indefensible
sexual urges for their
These
age?
kids are horny, is what you're saying. You're proposing sexual abuse because the kids are horny.
See, if you want me to put it that way, then that actually makes it easier for people to
No.
Why would we want to push something that we already recognize is kind of like creeping in
because we know that kids are going to look at pornography anyways, and when they actually
not when you tell them not like okay, that's like me saying, okay, look, alcohol's bad, but only drink White Claws because they're the lightest of them all.
Do you think it's morally acceptable for a dad to let their 15 or 16-year-old try beer?
So you guys didn't see, but even when I was listening to this, and I was in the chat talking as well, I was like, the idea, because we know we have parents who turn around and they say, like, is it okay for the dad or the mom to allow their kids to try any form of beverage, whether it's a cocktail, whether it is straight up hard liquor or even beer, knowing very well. Let's just show. Let's do a 1 and a 2. 1, if you have parents that allow you to try beer and you liked it, you hit 1, and if you didn't like it, hit 2. Your parents allowed you to try booze. You tried it, and instead of wincing, you reached for some more. 1, if you liked it. 2, if you did not. Just a show of hands. Whether it's a dad, a mom, an uncle, or aunt, like I think at some point, I would say that's a fair thing that most parents do with young children to try to, quote, not have them interested in alcohol. And I would say that even from myself and a lot of people that I know, most have taken a shine to it. People, drinkers are for sure people that I know I've been around. So we got Lawrence he's got the 1, Dolly with the 1, Locksmith with the 1. I think that most people get into that. Well, it's not a matter of snitching on parents. This is not a conversation about snitching on parents, Zoomer. Because if anything, they're saying that your parents are implicit. They are well-known accomplices in how this is turning out. That's part of this ideal study to help regulate kids who are early in this process. So it's not about snitching your parents out. It's making them literally part of the process, which can be crazy. Yeah, Uncle Fatty with the 1. Most of us who drink it turned around and went back for seconds. We didn't turn around and shy from it. So if you're saying, well, what about the parents who turn around and have their kid drink the beer, right? Should we start opening that up and getting a little bit worse? Because now we're talking about porn, guys. We're talking about that. So should we say, well, if you got parents who like to smoke weed, should they offer their young, early inducted kid, not teens, early kid to weed? What about the kids that are struggling with their parents because their parents have addictions, right? I'm going to go down that slippery slope. Yes, I'm creating the fallacy of slippery slope. And they're crackheads, meth heads. Should they induct their kids to meth because their kids are curious? How far? And I was saying not even a lot within the chat. Where's the line? Where's the line between parent and child? Alcohol is a drug. Weed is a drug. Meth is a drug. Heroin is a drug. Sex is also a drug. To make this seem like it's so benign is crazy in my mind. Because we have what? We have drug community, counseling communities for people who do heroin, for people who do weed, for people who drink alcohol, and for people who what? Have sex. There are counseling groups for people who are into too much sex. So why are we pretending like this is something that would not lead to something more dangerous in the future? My personal opinion. Maybe there's more to this that you can sway a different opinion on it. And if you have your different thoughts for it, be sure to let me know. I want to wholeheartedly get into this because it's something I could be missing.
Not even close to the same thing.
It's not analogous.
Okay.
No,
I disagree.
You're drawing a really.
I'm talking about controlled settings where kids can try things, so that way it kind of prepares them.
But
You're
you're
creepy as
pushing
shit.
them
Prepares them
into
for
a
what?
direction of.
Well, like I said, in this case, healthy sexual attitudes while entering
Have you ever cammed up?
to the age where they might have sexual interactions. Yes, I have.
Mel has camera.
Down one coming with $1.99. Sarah, Glenn's talking about speakeasy. So I guess they're arguing about speakeasy. We laugh about speakeasy and his awkwardness. It's kind of a heavy.
I'm not gonna get into that whole thing.
So Foxy, you're saying that that we should allow the kids to explore their sexual nature, like within pornography or whatever the case may be. Am I hearing that correctly? I did
And
have to
I'm
step away to go
scientific
to the
about it,
restroom,
right?
so I didn't hear.
I'm scientific
Okay,
about it. So
so-
first, I think we need research on this.
How the fuck?
I agree with this one. A sip is a conversation. I absolutely agree. That's not where they're going at with this.
But all I'm saying is that there's an argument for it.
Hold on. Let's walk through how what
innocent
research
lives
we
are
need.
being
Trials,
ruined
you would do
for the
trials
sake
and
of
look to see if the outcomes match our expectations.
But describe to me the process of researching this.
You would do trials of this, like the
Of
same thing that I
what?
just described, of
Like
bringing
do
kids into
like
a private setting where they're alone and they get to look at pornography and then leave.
well,
Controlled
are
pornography.
How do
know
we
what they're
observe
looking
them
at.
if they're private?
yeah, that's gross.
No, we know what we're giving them.
Then we should just shut this conversation down
Yeah, we
now
should.
before TOS.
Let's go back
like,
to the
reels
tokenization
in.
of trans people and how
Hey,
we're not
Melanie,
allowed
you
to
should come to
have
my
these
panel with
get
that
shut
nonsense
down.
sometimes, though.
Yeah, you're very good at handling things that you don't also comprehend. So
You're right. I
going back
don't
to the
comprehend
idea.
it.
So there were definitely some attacks being done. So, for instance, the attacking on Melanie to say that Melanie never cams up, but there's also this weird attacking of saying that you are not smart enough, you are not intellectual enough to be able to have this conversation. When, quite frankly, hey Jeremy, just give me a moment to say this. But also for Melanie to turn around and say that they are not smart enough to handle this conversation based on the fact that they have children. They raise children currently, and Melanie does not. Mel does not. But to say that they are not intellectual enough to take care of it. Boxsmith, what's going on, man?
Hey, so the dude with the tits, he said that it's a
Locksmith, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
and let him at it.
You got to repeat that. You
It's
broke.
kind of
Oh no, sir. You're broken out. You're broken out. Can't hear what you're saying. No, can't hear anything.
Go ahead.
All right. You can get it together. It's all right.
Yeah, that trans people should tone the fuck down. That's great and all for the people who want to do that. I don't judge people who act like.
Hey, Wigan. We were actually just talking about this whole thing about this. How should parents be raising their children? There's a bit of fragility. There's a little bit of misunderstanding also because for parents who have children, they raise them based on how they see the world and not necessarily how the children see the world. But then what brought me forth to having this conversation and gain this sense of understanding is when it comes to the disconnect between the same way for even when we came up in the world with parents. The parents saw things based on how they grew up in the world, not how we grew up in the world. And that still translates as to how we have children and we look at them based on how we came up in the world, not how they came up in the world. But then to have people out here, because it's a different world out there, it's a different world the where you come from. Literally, you have someone like Melanie who is now saying that people, young kids, should be exposed to being curious enough to figure themselves out sex at a very, very early age if they are basically done so under quote a form of supervision. And that line gets very, very blurry. That's how we got to this. That's what sparked this whole thing up.
Token trans people, but at the end of the day, there's not enough
Wait,
representation.
how does somebody act
at the
like
end
a
of the day?
token
Let me
trans
finish.
person,
Let
Mel?
me finish.
No,
at the end
shut
of
the
Wait, before Melody gets in. Locksmith, you good?
Sound better?
Much better, sir. Much better.
So the dude with the tits was indicating that it's okay to have a minor, put him in a room, and subject them to pornographic material.
No. I will not say that was the words that came out of Melanie Cosmic Fox's mouth. I will not say that those were that's what was being implicated. What it was being put forth is that saying that there are kids who experience puberty early and become very curious about sex, that there should be a way for them to explore that understanding of sexuality in a very controlled setting, and it should be studied. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what we're getting down to. And if Melanie feels like it's not something that's concrete as to what I said, we're going through it in real time, because again, if I'm paraphrasing, because I'm chopping it all down, because a whole lot being said, and everybody also has their own understanding because they're listening to the words in real time, not trying to sway anybody, but that's where we're at right now. So no, there was nothing forth in saying you should be able to go after children. There was nothing about that whatsoever. I'm not gonna put that on.
Okay. So the youngins nowadays also go through puberty at a younger age too, right? So it's
That's
okay
correct.
it's okay to subject them just because they're going through puberty, let's say at the age of 8, 9, and 10 years old. It's okay. Are you fucking for real? And study it like little lab rats?
That's essentially where we were at in the conversation, and we can allow them to deep dive a little bit more so you can get more context.
Hey, there's not enough representation.
How does somebody
strong
act as a
trans
token?
people? Neve, I know you're not
trans
actually
people.
a strong.
Sorry,
trans
so I think from a
person. I
societal.
know you're all fronting.
Okay,
I'm not actually.
I'm fronting. I'm fronting with.
Yes,
I'm fronting with my camera on. You're fronting with a Furby fucking PNG. You're fronting with a Furby PNG. I say everything with my mouth and with my face melt. You don't say fucking anything unless it's behind a Furby and your presumptive pronoun situation.
I love how we were just
Hello.
discussing this whole concept of like the drama.
Neve lit this shit on fire. Neve was like,
I love Neve.
You want me to
I
tell
love
him?
Neve.
And Furby's like, tell him what? Neve's like, oh yeah, that's your PDF.
If you think this makes PDF, you're a bit of a PDF hunter, and you're the people
I,
that like.
I'm not at all a PDF hunter, but when I hear somebody who's saying we should do this with the kids.
Whoa. I'm sorry. I didn't even catch that the first time on last night's stream. Let me just ask this question to y'all. Is there something wrong with being a PDF hunter? Locksmith? Chat? Is there anything wrong with being a PDF hunter?
What is that, pedophile hunter?
Yes, sir. Thank you for just saying it, but yes. That's the whole point. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking about PDF file. Okay, but yeah, I got you.
Yes,
Yeah,
PDF
fuck
file,
yeah.
yes.
Hell yeah. Totally for it, man. They need to be dealt with.
So the idea of saying you're just a PDF file hunter is like, absolutely. What are we saying here? What are we saying? Why is that looked upon as a bad thing?
It's not in my book. The majority of the world's book either.
We supposed to protect children.
That's right, 100%.
Well, what are we doing? I didn't catch that even last night. I was like, wait, what? You're just a PDF file hunter. Absolutely. Card carrying member. Absolutely. What? I'm just surprised I just caught that right now. I did not catch that last night.
These pads got rights too, right? Even if they done it more than once, they'll pop more than once. You get freed more than once. They got rights, right? That's some bullshit. Go ahead.
All right, man.
Kids because they want it.
Controlled environment.
That's a fucking line.
But
controlled
Furby,
environment. A controlled
you're,
environment.
You're actually
parent and physician where there be zero chance of
but you know what? A
They're
controlled environment.
They're very fucking smart.
Hold on. A controlled environment is me telling my kids that doing X, Y, and Z is wrong. And because of our principles and values of our family, we're not going to entertain these concepts. Wrong, right, moral, bad, X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. And by the direction that you're saying is we should test the theory of letting kids do these things that we're saying are immoral. We're saying they're wrong, but we're going to allow them to test the theory and to see what's going on. And it's like, no, you're the fucking parent. You say no.
What is the potential benefit?
To kids. Hold on, I'm not fucking done. Hold on. Let me.
That's what she said.
I respect the concept of you having an opinion, but I will question the idea, and don't take this as an insult, but I question the idea of, do you have children? Because my children, I'm going to dictate what the fuck happens in their lives. I'm going to come in and say, no, that is wrong. We're not going to fuck around with this stupid shit. You're X amount of years old. You're this, you're that. That is not appropriate for a child or a person, whatever your age. No, don't have sex, abstinence is key, whatever, yada, 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 insert, parental guidance here. And that's the end of the fucking story. But I'm not going to sit here and feel the need to push any type of sex limitations or what they're capable of or what they would or wouldn't do if they were in a room by themselves. Of course they do stupid shit when they're in a room by themselves. They're kids. That's why they have parents to give them the training wheels and the guidance so that they can do better and know and understand, hey, that's wrong.
Knowing and understanding is the key part of the entire premise that Sarah is having. Because people don't tend to comprehension is a key thing, and that can be done through communication. It doesn't need to be done by you doing the act. You can very well understand that it is not okay to murk somebody through conversation. You don't need to murk somebody to see their lifeless body to turn around and say, oh, I think I did a bad thing. There doesn't need to be a study of kids doing that for them to understand that. In my humble opinion, even though we know that this is the reason why we have laws in the books, regardless of where you go about doing so. The same way how we know that people don't practice cannibalism. What are we doing? Why are we even making this a thing? How does it even really come up to be something that's and again, I'm trying to extend what I tend to extend to a lot of people who I work with, who I coach, who I talk with. I'm trying to extend some care, some mercy, and a little bit of grace. But this is a conversation that should not even be really the thing to be fought up against by Melanie. Unless you have an ulterior motive. And I'm not going to put that on you because I don't know you personally. But I'm going to say the thing that I thought was very precarious and I didn't want to say earlier when I was talking about it with Yvette. You have so many people within your community, your alphabet community, that they do already a lot of things that are already suspect throughout the viewing of the world, not just the nation, but the viewing of the world. That when you bring forth things like this, it makes people believe that you are definitely on that side that makes them look bad. Not saying that you are. The conversation that you are bringing forth paints people within your community in a very bad light. And I don't think that you really think about that when you try to defend these positions. Again, not to say you're not a smart individual, not that you don't understand any particular concept. I'm giving you that I'm giving you that compassion, I'm giving you that grace. But when you say these particular things, you don't come off as looking like you're in the right frame of mind. I'm just gonna be honest with you. In my humble opinion, and in my opinion only, my opinion does not represent what's going on for the other people who are here watching and the other people that's in the chat. They have their own. That's what we do here in this channel. But on mine, this is why I'm stating just for me, it didn't come off very well on your side, which is why I did not see anyone reaching to try to even look at your side of the equation. Because the math just didn't make any sense from the jump, from the moment you put one.
Agreed.
So I'm not going to seem like I'm just dogpiling with the rest of everybody else here. I was listening to what you were saying in real time. I literally put down the alcohol. I literally made myself a coffee. I was literally trying to understand your point of view. And the more and more I heard, the more I was shaking my head like this is not it. This is not it. Not in a cultural view, on a literally a global view, from our laws, from our religions, from our cultures. People do not sign up for this. This is the reason why you need studies, because they already would not have it. They are not going to have this. But children should be protected at all costs.
Why should there even be a suggestion of a study in the first place? Is what I want to know. What kind of shit is this,
Because
bro?
if there needed to be a study, it would have been done already. The fact that there's not a study means that no one wants to have it.
Yeah, there's laws against it. Don't subject minors to pornography. Material. Sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The reason why it hasn't been done is because there are things that we just say to be taboo and should not be crossed. And the problem with particular people with a particular mindset, I'm not even going to say you, Mel, but you're kind of leaning into that category. that we don't believe that just because something is thought about, that should be practiced. Cannibalism is thought about. That doesn't mean people are going all out there to practice it. It's only the very far and few people that we look at as unconventional lunatics that would suggest that we should do a normal thing with it. My opinion only. That's all. Let's listen more.
So that's like really good virtue signaling. That would be ideal if it were true.
Virtue, that's not even a virtue signal. That is what a parent
I let you
is.
finish, Sarah.
That's what a parent does. I apologize. You are correct.
If parental guidance alone were enough to keep kids from looking at other forms of pornography that they have more access to than ever on the internet, I totally agree. But when parents start observing that their kids are doing these behaviors and they're like, we gave them the guidance and they won't stop, to a physician, and they both agree that something must be done to prevent this kid from visiting, for example, terrible sites on the internet. Because we know that this is just studies that we've done. No matter how hard you try to stop kids from looking at stuff on the internet, they usually find a way. And at the end of the day, kids do look at pornography. That's just a matter of fact. And we have to be able to address that.
What benefit are you trying to introduce?
We can control which pornography they're looking at and prevent them from seeing.
If we can't control them from looking at it in the first place, how the fuck are we going to know what genre they watch?
We also don't exercise. We don't exercise the slightest amount of control on the pornography that's already produced, Mel. So what makes you think that we could somehow provide some sort of clinical substitute? And then for this premise,
are clinically equipped with the tools necessary to prevent things like pornography addiction.
Oh, but you are.
Locksmith, you later. Chat. What studies are clinically proven? What medicines, what psychiatric drugs, what pills, what's on the FDA that is clinically shown to be able to prevent pornography addiction? Can you guys give me anything? Here's your chance to be current researchers. Do yourself a favor, turn around and look up anywhere that turns around and say that they have studies, they have clinical trials, they have drugs, they have stuff that's sponsored by the FDA, that there are actual psychiatrists out there that have been able to prevent. We're talking about prevention, folks. Prevent pornography addiction. And if you find those actual links, do me a favor and send it to Resla opinionated@gmail.com. If you don't want to spell that whole bitch out, it is in the description box. Be sure to send me that link. I will look it up right now in real time. Locksmith, what is your thoughts?
Nah, there ain't no pill out there, man. You know, you got to control what your child can see. What I mean by that is...
What about studies? Do you think there's actual studies and controlled substances that prevent people from watching porn?
No, not at all, man. Not at all. Not in my opinion. I haven't heard of any of that bullshit for real.
If anyone want to do some current research and see what it was out there, I don't give a damn. Fight with an AI, whatever, and you can find something for that. Again, send it to my email address. I will wholeheartedly take a look at it. I will. But as far as I can tell you, that was some bullshit that just got put out there. That was something that can easily and ethically be challenged. That did not make sense. It just didn't. Let's hear some more.
Because you did PubMed and has spent a lot of time looking at science.
We need to study how to do this right still. I'm just saying that this is an option.
How to do it right.
You understand the study is in and of itself.
How to do it right.
The study is abuse. So you want to abuse some kids to see if maybe we can
they're
make
already
them have better pornography choice.
This isn't more abusive than them already looking at pornography despite
it is. It's imposed externally and it's
if we have kids that are already under this idea of being abused, under the guise of pornography and sex work like that, you don't think that it would be more or rather it would add, let me just say that, not me more. It would add under the idea of kids being abused because they are put in a quote controlled setting for pornography to something that they did in secret but were exposed to now being hovered on and watched and encouraged to do in order to understand it. That's not adding to psychological pressures. Go ahead, Locksmith.
I was saying, yeah, it's just manipulation. It's definitely, if you can do that and it's secret. No more secrets, by the way. What the fuck are we doing nowadays, people?
I agree, Uncle Fatty.
But yeah, it's opening up their mind to a totally different lifestyle that they shouldn't even be subjected to in the first place. But when one is, such as myself when I was a youngin', there's definitely manipulation going on.
So there is this push from some people that believe that they want to do it like a commercial. The more you know, the better off you are. And as early as possible, the more you know, the better off you are. When it just literally shows that the more you know, the worse off you can also be. The easier it is, and the more you know to be able to, let's just say, inflict damage, to understand more about the human condition, creates a person who becomes more dangerous. It doesn't create a person who's more responsible. It does not. A person who understands death and how to manipulate and how to exact those things on other people who are unsuspecting tends to do it a bit more. Period. It's already shown to be that. The idea that you think that by addressing concerns, by literally inflicting by study, social parameters that would give them an experience that they should not be having ahead of time because of the actual, not benefits, but disabilities that it will bring forth to people. Because I don't know anyone that turned around and they were exposed to sex earlier and it made them better or more responsible when it came to sex. Not a one. But this is the position that's being taken up. Oh, that's not what's being said. Kind of is, because you're saying that if they understanding sex earlier, they can be more responsible when it comes to having sex in the future. And there is no study for that, which is why you're trying to push for one so that you can be able to say that there is. There's a reason why this study was never pushed forth in the first place, because it's not like sex is a new thing. Porn is not a new thing. There are plenty of other studies out there that shows that just how debilitating and how crippling the addiction of porn is. The idea of thinking that you would give it to someone in their early, it's debilitating to adults. To adults who are 26-year-old, 30 years old, 40, 50 years old today. Fully grown, cognizant adults. It is debilitating to. And you think that by giving it to someone who is literally not cognitive enough to be developed enough to be aware of how to manage it, you think that giving it to them earlier would be better? Would make them more responsible? Okay.
Yo.
Monitored. It's creepy as
You're
fuck.
the one who wants it to be abused. That's just what you want. I'm telling you that this is as
abuse.
far from abuse. This is as
It's
far from abuse as possible. Expecting kids to follow your every order. Expecting kids to follow your every order is abuse.
Hello, dumb fuck. By definition, it is child abuse. Exposure to sexual content, neglect, harming a child's sense of self, all of these different things. Oh no, listen, child abuse is defined. It's defined, Mel. It's defined. So we don't have weird fucking Furbies like you skirting our understanding of what we should and shouldn't do for children out of some sort of stupid perceived benefit.
that would
Okay.
require self-reflection.
Look, an ad hom coming from a Furby. Sorry.
Oh, wow, you're
miss.
poor little ad homs from
Miss.
people.
Okay.
Oh,
This is the
but
maddest
Blood-
I've ever seen Mel. Mel, you got exposed. You
Yeah.
tipped your
No,
cards.
but
you're
this is
creepy
but this is Mel. Let's be very clear. This is the real Mel. This is the real Mel. Okay. Let's be really clear about this. Not the subtle. Oh, I just want to come up here and tell
Come on,
everyone
bitch.
my position on things. And drama content would be so much better if we just debated the facts and looked into the scientific things. This is Mel's. This is what Mel wants you to see. This is who Mel is. Let's be very clear.
An argument.
Are you having a meltdown, Mel? A meltdown. I didn't do
I
that.
provided you with one.
And speaking of the real thing, rude mud crabs come with the big five. Furby want to abuse kids to research the benefits. That's wild.
Damn.
And Don Juan coming in with the $1.99. Ethics have left the building with such abuse.
Child abuse looks like neglecting kids with actual care and letting them be exposed to pedophiles on the internet because you think
That's
that
you.
to guidance your way.
Well,
through.
isn't exposing them to pornography the same thing though?
No,
Because that is still people that are.
You're just being a moral asshole. At the end of the day.
Okay, I would. Okay,
So would that not make the majority of society moral assholes? Think about that for a moment. Would that not make the majority of people moral assholes for wanting to protect children and not have them subjected to porn?
Call me the biggest motherfucking asshole there's out there, then.
Yeah, you're right.
So-
Neve does have an amazing mic. That Blue Yeti is working out. Go ahead, Locksmith.
So why do we need to subject children to this when there's already children that have been essayed that are now grown adults that can look back, reflect on situations?
Here's the reason why. Here's the reason why, according to Mel, because it was happened upon them. They weren't curious, and it wasn't in a controlled setting. They weren't monitored.
So do you think so does Mel, man with tits, does he so it's okay to
this disclaimer, I don't know
the
if
situation?
I said just a disclaimer, I have no idea what Mel has.
Okay. Well, I'm saying that. But anyways, so it's okay for them to subject this research for them to a child that might be curious about it. Well, don't you think a lot of SA kids from the past might have had a curiosity? But the curiosity is not there unless they're manipulated and groomed to actually think about situations as such or be exposed to materials as such. You know, I see why subject innocent children for a new research when there's already children that have already been through it. And the same situation doesn't matter. They might be curious. Well, that's because you groomed them. And then what happened when you groomed them? You had your way, right?
Well, here's my thing, and I'll say this about this whole aspect of, because they're not talking about individuals who are going after them. They're talking about the industries that are easily to have access to, mainly the sexual industry that anyone could have access to, and these kids become curious about it, right? So we're not talking about people who are specifically targeting kids to group them. But the idea that you would want a study being done on curious children because of the access to things that, let's be honest, most parents don't want their kids even looking at in the first place. So that you could have something on the books to say that it's decent or it's safe for kids to look at such a thing. It is decent or it's safe, or we can normalize sexual experiences with children so that they can be able to safely engage in such activities with other people in the future. That's the way how I look at it in a nutshell. I know no one said that, but if you expose to somebody something in the future and you normalize it, they take it to a whole nother extreme. Look at human society, civilization in general. So if you turn around and you push towards the things that turn around and say, well, kids are now normalized watching porn, then what's to stop them from all the other stuff that they're watching too, between same sex, between family. What hell, with all the freaky stuff out there, you'll probably find incest, so they'll make it normal between their own siblings because they're being exposed to porn. Because what, again, I'll say what I said even when I was in their chat. Where is the line? Because the words that kept coming up was safe porn. I have never heard of a category of safety, only extremisms. We have the BDSM, we have the tortures, we probably got who knows whatever else out there. I have never heard of anything being safe when it came to that specific niche. It only expands, and I think Zoomer even said it earlier, when we get into targeting animals.
Oh, I'm sure they'll
And I'm
stop
laughing
there,
too.
right?
Now I'm laughing because now we talk about animals, but we're literally talking about someone who got curled, a furry, several times. So how far do we go? Where is the line? I've been trying to get to that, and we never really get to that. So if we cannot discover where the line is, why say that we're going to push it? If we can't say, here's the line, how about this? Do not go any further until we talk about what's the line. Don't go forward until we can discover what the line is. And if we cannot discover what the line is, the conversation is off the table. Point blank.
I will die on the
At the end
hill.
of the day, if they're already looking at pornography,
Mel,
you want
I
to
will
control it.
die on the hill of being a moral asshole if that keeps pornography out of my child's hands.
It doesn't.
Yeah, and more
Nobody
and
wants
no
to give your kids
pornography.
porn and watch it with
That
them.
does not work.
for studies.
Pornography does not have honest depictions of intimate interactions between consenting
That's why
adults.
we can
It
curate.
never does. It's an over objectification of the
That's why
woman
in my
and
example,
disgusting
curate.
sexual excess of the people involved every fucking
that's why
time.
in my
So because
example,
there's what, like
Right.
5% of a porn out there that exists for people who
Moral
like to watch sensual
moral-
softcore interactions
it is.
between adults, that's like what the fuck are you
That's why
proposing
I'm
here?
saying we would
You
curate
sound
because
fucking
of health
crazy.
protection.
What this sounds
That's why
like to
I'm
me
saying,
now. What this
I know
sounds
how
like to
I know
me.
what
Let
you
me
want it
let
to
me
sound like.
well, let
Especially
me
curated porn for
give
children. Tomato?
hold on, Mel. Let me give an analogy here. What this sounds like to me is there's a teenager out there that went out and smoked pot for the first time, and you come in and say, "Hey, let's put them in a room full of heroin and see what happens.
No,
Let's see
I'm
if they
not
die
saying the
further."
opposite.
And that's
saying if
what
the
it
child
sounds
That's what it
like.
seems like.
I think I want to try heroin. Then we pull
This
them
sounds
back
like Chris Hansen.
from
Like,
owner
oh, I was just coming over to
back
check on her to make sure she was safe.
to their friend
That's what
group.
it sounds like.
I think it's better.
And
Let me respond, please. I think I'm saying the opposite. If a kid says to their parents, "I want to try heroin," I think it's okay for the parents to say, "Well, fuck it, let's keep you smoking weed and let's make sure you always have weed, so you don't want to try heroin."
Jeremy, take this. You just heard that shit. We're talking about people I just finished saying are absolutely curious. If the kid is already curious about heroin, what makes you think that all the amounts of weed that they're gonna be smoking is gonna take them away from actually being fixated on wanting to try heroin? I'm gonna put as much weed as I can in front of your face so that you won't be into heroin, knowing the fact that it's not gonna do the same thing. Right? They didn't say we're going to try to put as much information in front of your face that shows all the negative things about heroin so that you won't do it. They didn't say that. They said we're going to put all of the weed in front of you so that therefore you won't be convinced to look at heroin. Keep in mind, there are no negative things that have ever been pushed forward to them that make them think that heroin was a bad thing, which makes them still fucking curious. And now they have an abundance of weed. Curiosity. We're talking about the human condition of being curious. If people will bungee jump unless they've seen enough incidents of people dying from bungee jumping. But if you say, well, we can talk about all the other times or all the other things. If a person said, I bungee jump, right? And I've been thinking about skydiving. If you didn't want your, quote, significant other, your child, whoever, to skydive, you would show them all of the clips of people who could not have their chutes open. You wouldn't turn around and say, well, let's just talk about all the other stuff that you did that you already like as well. I'm going to show you a million videos of positive things about bungee jumping. They did bungee jumping already. They want to do skydiving, but you presented no negative things about skydiving. So guess what they're going to still do at the end of the day? Fucking skydive. That's the human condition. There was no negative feedback, no negative stimuli. So that means they're still going to do it. And on top of that, they got a free pass to do a whole bunch of bungee jumping. Well, what is it that's wrong here? How is it that this framework is missed? How is this missed? Honestly, I don't know. I never had a conversation. I just think that the position that they took wasn't thoughtfully prepared, in my opinion. They may even have points that I haven't considered, but I think in the way how they try to articulate themselves, where I try to downplay everybody else's thoughts on it, I don't think they were actually prepared. I think they have a thought process that they really didn't do enough thinking about. My humble opinion only. That's just my thoughts. That's just my thoughts. I'm going to give it a little bit more.
And Fecal coming in with the $10. Everyone take a breath and have a cookie, except for Flo. No cookie for Flo.
Fine.
I'm going for the
And the
So
Trib
your
one coming in with the
strategy-
5. Don't really know what Mel is referring to, but mindless virtue signaling doesn't really help anyone. What even was the premise to the sick debate?
So your approach is basically whatever the worst thing is, why don't we just introduce kids to the next thing down, right?
No, not even introduce it. Once they already show that they're going to be accessing these things anyways, because
How do we establish that?
over sexuality or
Okay.
hypersexuality,
So
precocious puberty, and we know
no,
that like,
it's more than precocious. Okay, sorry. You need to decouple a few things here. I think one thing is very important is that precocious puberty happens to people whose body is forcing them through changes at a time that we would find it to be kind of like generally uncomfortable. Puberty is uncomfortable for everyone, but we're talking young girls developing breasts at really, really uncomfortable ages, things that have long-standing complications for the way they interact in the world and the way they're seen in the world. Precocious puberty versus, who the sorts of kids who act out in over-sexualized ways, kids who have been abused, kids who have been victim of sexual abuse, who have been victimized by adults in their life or other kids, teens, whatever you want to say it. That is a sign of abuse when there is a child that needs it. The solution is to not reintroduce the sexual stimulation to the situation. It's to take a step back and maybe insert a professional, but not to do dumb fuck shit like that. You have no understanding of what you're talking about. Everything you say is removed. No, everything you say is removed from the burden of nurturing or actually understanding what the fuck children are. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
For this opinion, hiding behind your fucking avatar with your damn.
Let's talk about this directly, and then you have to go on to your own personal ad hom. So let me be very specific.
Yes, we're gonna ad hom your creepy ass. You're exactly the person that I don't want.
Good point. When Neve says that some of these kids may have been abused, I think that that's a case where we need special examination, and we don't always just show them pornography. Sure.
What does that mean?
Again, it's a controlled setting where the pornography is curated to show is better than the internet where they can just encounter more abusers.
No.
What if it's repressed, Mel? What if it's repressed? What if it's repressed?
So
what if the abuse is repressed?
You want adults watching it with kids, or watching kids watch it, or introducing kids to the type that they want to. The whole thing from top down is so fucking creepy. All it is justification.
You don't know how.
Look, I'm not a fan of accusing people of things, but you
brain goes fucking numb.
This is exactly a creepy grooming suggestion. We should watch it with kids because they want to watch.
And let pornography addiction get out of control in youth.
Speaking of grooming, the Trib one with the $5 comes in to groom the lovely crispy treat and all of her needs. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Keep donating, keep contributing in all different ways. But yeah, pretty fucked up. This was brought up in the first place, hoping Mel isn't a PDF, but I know she'll be
No,
seen
Liz.
as one because of this. And it
I don't
is
think-
kind of an odd thing to suggest. And if you really like logically sit and think about it, like, oh, you know, you've hit puberty and you're feeling sexual and all of these things. Let's go ahead and feed that and see what happens.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Who does this? Who turns around and see that there's a deviant behavior and you turn around and say, let's feed that more in order for them to have a better understanding of that? Who, like, this is the opposite of rehab, folks. The opposite. To say that, well, no, you have that. I get that that's a feeling that you have. We can even have a conversation about it, but instead of just having the conversation, how about we just put you in the situation to actually have it? I mean, this is imagine this. Now the ages are younger, right? Damn. To you fathers out there, to you uncles out there, damn. Little Johnny's fucking he getting early. He getting his wood early. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy him a prostitute. Rather than just sitting there and start talking about, I understand you're going and what you're going through. We could talk about this, we could talk about that. And what we can do is that we could talk about you being responsible and finding that right person to actually couple with, and then therefore doing that in the future with the right person, looking for morals, looking for people who are responsible, how to take care of them in a responsible way. Nope, we're gonna disregard all that. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna lock you in a room. We're gonna have people in a lab coat, probably watch you, video cameras on, like porn, and watch you do the deed, and hopefully you learn something from it. That's what we're getting.
Doing
That
it to
out
keep
there,
you
though, we
safe.
consider that they're going to access it
Oh my God, what's good?
We don't
But,
know that.
I just-
That's
but
the
you
weird
limit,
ass
you're
assumption.
limiting the access. You're limiting the access as a parent. Again, being a parent means you're giving your teenager with hormones training wheels. These are training wheels. Okay. And you give them the guidance to the best of your ability. You tell them, like, nope, that's wrong. This is good. This is bad. X, Y. You do all of these things because you as an adult know and have experienced different circumstances, so on and so forth, so you can pass your guidance down.
So I
They are
don't understand-
training wheels. We don't want to
Oh.
like fuel the fire of hell.
Sarah, even with best intentions, this doesn't work at the end of the day because we've studied this. And I think like we have to be honest that like some portion of these sexual
If you
assaults
keep saying
that
we've
we
studied
talk
this, you're gonna have to
about
start
can be
dropping
their own
links.
family members.
What about family members?
I agree with what Flo just said. If you say that we studied this, you need to be able to cite some sources so that everybody on the panel should therefore be able to get what you're saying. It's like saying we know this already. No, we don't. You need to be able to cite your sources. You need to be able to cite tools. You need to be able to cite something so that we can all be on the same page. You having information that no one else is actually being able to review, to understand, to be in lockstep with, to be able to even contend against, to be able to see what years it was done, to be able to see what kind of study was done, what was the sample size, all of that shit. To just say that, well, it's already been done, I'm sure, does not speak anything. And I love the fact that Flo said it. I really wish he really nailed that shit down. But I get it. Everybody was rather emotionally charged. I get it.
Members?
That some of the victims that Neve is trying to protect can be one's own family members. So sometimes parental guidance falls
Yeah.
out the window, and
I
especially
absolutely hope that all of my
So
family members are
that's-
protected from creepy ass pedos like you.
That's,
Do you
that's
know
not
that
an
one of the
argument for your
tactics that police
position.
interrogators use with PDFs is to make little things like lines like, you know, it's not that big. She wanted that, you know,
You think
she
it's
probably
more-
wanted it anyways. She wanted it anyways. You're doing that. That's
Who do you think is
exactly
more
your
likely
line.
to be a pedo?
This is
Someone
a predatory
more
line.
random they encounter on the
You
internet?
creepy fucker walking around with predatory talking points behind your Furby avatar.
Who do you
Looking
think is
bad-
more likely
looking
to
bad.
be a pedo? Answer me. The
Huh?
someone random on the internet, are they more likely to be a pedo or a child psychologist?
I'm talking to a random on the internet.
Answer
You're
my
not a child
question. Answer my
psychologist.
fucking question, coward. Who's
This
more
was
likely
not a child
to-
psychologist recommendation. This was a random
I
creepy
literally
Furby on the
said
internet
that that's
suggestion.
who's going to
You are
administer
most likely to be a
the
pedo.
program. That's literally who I said would do this. Is a child psychologist.
Yeah, none of them have ever suggested it that I've heard. Why don't
Okay,
you let them make
sorry.
the suggestion in the
Hey,
first
Sorry,
place?
wouldn't okay, Mel? Sorry, wouldn't a child psych?
No, sir. No, sir. No, there's none of that is happening here. No. I cannot say that it was happening. All right. We're not discussing any of that stuff.
Psychologist be somebody who would try and like, wouldn't a child psychologist be involved in the process that you're stating? Like, wouldn't they be involved in the process of somehow providing this, medication to the fucking like?
All
like,
sorts of things we can do. You're right, but at the end of the day, if they're still going to look.
Okay, so what?
So
you believe what we believe. You believe what we believe, but you still fucking go for this. What the fuck?
At the end of the day, I think having a healthier alternative is better than
It's
no
not.
alternative.
You're
It's
so
worse.
dumb. Administered by the people you just
you
admitted are
saying?
likely to be a fucking pedophiles,
They're
right?
far less likely to be a pedo than some rando
No.
on the internet. You're an idiot.
No.
Okay, somebody
think
who's
that
in
when you get a
sole
degree-
somebody whose sole purpose is to that requires the proximity of children outside of their own qualifications and their credentials. It's dictated that to make their ends meet, they need to be in proximity to children versus somebody who exists online and sometimes says shit you don't like.
Children are safer online than around a child psychologist.
Not with
You're the
you.
sort of person who wouldn't get a child.
You just fucking conceded that they were more
Even
likely
you,
to.
that people who want to do things to kids work with kids. They seek them out, right?
You only neglect children.
I'm speaking. This is why humans are not experiments a priori. I'm guessing you meant to say a priority. Rachel, what say you? And then to Keynes.
Oh, I'm just in with Neve on this. I agree with Neve 100% and Flo on this issue, but I don't want to, disrespect the little Furby character. It's adorable, but no, you can't do it. You can't normalize a dysfunction. If someone has a precocious puberty, I would assume that is not normative or it's not optimal, and therefore I would argue that to facilitate that, even in a clinical setting, would be to normalize it. I think that would be harmful. My instincts tell me, stand back, danger. Will Robinson, don't do it.
So I've been very clear about responding to every criticism and providing a real prescription that is applicable in the real world and has checks and balances that would hold people accountable.
You don't get to
No, you haven't described that. You just talked about having studies. You did not describe anything, any part, how it's be done, how it's going to be monitored, what's the policies on it. You haven't described any of that. Not one bit, at least here on this panel. You have not done it. Because I would have been waiting to take in all that. Like I said, when we start diving that far, if you really want to persuade or have that conversation to have people lean on your side, then you need to provide that evidence. But I think that the biggest mistake that you had, Mel, was that you brought up to have the conversation and you weren't being very cognizant of your audience. I said that from the beginning. I'm saying it again. If you were prepared to have this argument, it would have been a whole lot easier for you to have this conversation with people than how you presented it, because you presented no facts, you presented no figures. Everything seemed like it's feelings. You try to present it as facts, and facts are not feelings, folks. They're not. Your theories are not practical. And then you say, well, we need to get the practicality. There's a reason why it was never practical in the first place, because it's dangerous. Because if adults cannot handle it, you cannot provide it to children. If adults cannot handle medication, you don't give it to children. It's just that obvious. If it's too much for adults to handle, you do not break it in by giving it to children. Let's go.
Decide. You don't. That's a
know,
level
you're
of
afraid of
analysis
letting
that
me
we'll all
finish.
make together.
Yeah.
That's not your decision to
You're
make
afraid
whether or
of
not
letting
you
me
made an
finish.
adequate argument.
Do you stop running your mouth for once, please? Thanks.
I'll stop running my mouth when I decide to fucking stop running it. You've already been through this with me. You know that I won't shut the fuck up just because you're
more people than science. So keep that in mind.
Nobody heard you because I was talking.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, moral science has hurt, or moral outrage has hurt more people than science. Please keep that in mind.
So you should fuck them. Or I'm sorry, watch them.
Dude, you're the pervert here who has to like come to these conclusions in order to even pretend.
It's not a far conclusion. It's actually like
no,
the same
pretty
thing.
stark
You
line.
are
James
proposing
Theo.
child abuse. It already is the same thing. Hold on, Sarah. What you're proposing is already legally exactly child abuse. It's not a stretch at all. It's already already there.
Every single example that has been brought up, from precocious puberty to people who have possibly suffered abuse, the solution in both of those situations is not more sexualization, not introducing more sexualization into those situations. And because you can't seem to demonstrate something outside of precocious puberty, and the obvious that what I'm saying is that these kids are probably have been abused, you can't seem to demonstrate a third party or a third example of a fucking child here that would benefit from this sort of thing. It just sounds fucking weird. It just sounds weird. Because if it's precocious puberty, the solution is not to compound the early sexualization that is already going on, that they're already victims of, as a nature of their body and the way the body is progressing, or the child abuse situation where they've already been victimized early on in their life. You want to compound that by introducing a child psychologist and having some sort of clinical setting where they can then therefore further compound that. I am afraid of that, and I'm afraid that these things are coming from your fucking mouth. I'm afraid that they're coming from your fucking mouth, for sure. I'm afraid of that. Yeah.
You're the one who would harm children by letting them be exposed to randos on the internet before a child psychologist. And I just really want to point out, like, medical
No. Stop with that narrative.
That's a really disingenuous straw man.
It's insanely overreaching. You're trying so hard to create a paradigm in which that is true.
That doesn't make it an argument.
Honestly, we're just shitting on you at this point. Nobody needs to argue anything else. It's plainly obvious that you want to have children because you're a fucking creep.
Lost this debate.
It's not a real art. Yeah, nobody actually is taking your point seriously. You understand that.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks that this is a more normal or a real recommendation.
I don't. Okay. We'll have it. We'll have it as a thought exercise for people. How many people think that this is a normal process that people come to in reference to? Let's just not even say the children. If we had people, I don't know who's dying out here. It's the freaking weekend now. It is crazy right now. So it's the weekend in New York, folks. I guess at this time of night, I'm going to start hearing a whole bunch of trucks and everything. But let's just say, even for adults out here, right? Who would prescribe to them that the best way for them to get over their sexual addictions is to be locked in the room and be observed, dealing with more sex, dealing with more curiosities of their sexual their sexual thoughts? This is not a thing. We know that would not help. And the idea that this would be something that is be used as a prescription for early children. Oh, it's not even overdose, Zoomer. It's done. It's done. You do that to early children and the game is over. Over. OVAH. Over. They stick a fork in them. There's nothing left for them in the future. Like it's all over. The idea that people even think that this was a good premise to even reach on is bad. It's terrible in general. And the idea that this has to be someone who, I'm not gonna try to put that on you, Mel, but I'm gonna say this has to be someone who necessarily does not think of children in the way of someone who actually has them. This is someone who believes that, quite frankly, children can make adult decisions, like the puberty blocker things, or like the mutilating of genitals, things like that. That they are in the right state of mind that they can make these decisions for themselves. That they can decide despite the biological and social structures that we have globally. And to believe that these same people can make adult decisions by exposing it to them early. What's next? Our 8-year-olds are allowed. This is the conversation we're about to have in 5 more years. That 10-year-olds and 8-year-olds and 7-year-olds can register for the draft and be also able to vote. Is that the next conversation? Where is the line? Guys, don't make me buy a gavel. I need a gavel in this bitch. I feel like I need a gavel right now. Where's the line? Where is the line? I need to know. Because when I'm hearing people like Mel speak, and I've been trying to be very, very nice. I try to give you some care, try to give you some mercy, try to give you some grace. Those are my three things that I bring forth everywhere. Three things. My care is slipping out the window. You're not getting much mercy from me anymore, so I'm trying to give you a little bit of grace. You're not making it easier. I wish that you bring forth more. And if this needs to be a conversation that needs to be had where you can be able to showcase some of that stuff, it doesn't have to be here. I'm going to have that conversation with you. But if you're going to have these type of talks with people, you are going to have, without a shadow of a doubt, so much evidence backed in your corner, because your theories are not enough. You're going to have a substantial amount of numbers backing these theories that you have. Your personal theories are not enough. You stating that there are studies for things that you cannot put forth is not enough. Because if people just have to ask you questions that are not even 3 levels deep, and you have a problem answering these things, you're dead in the water and you're open to scrutiny, and therefore there's no saving you. You deserve to get heckled. You deserve to have ad homs thrown at you. You deserve to be chastised. You know this already as someone who hops on panels, who speak among people who have all diverse thoughts and opinions. This is why I say, even for people who I know, people who I don't know, people who I rock with, people who I don't rock with, you step on the internet, be mindful of what you say. If you are not ready, this is not a place for your friends. What about your friends? This is not it. This is not the place. You can develop friendships, sure. You could develop adversaries as well. If you are not ready, don't open your mouth. Just saying. I'm gonna read some of these chats while we hear a little bit more of this.
Recommendation.
I don't think you can even, like, realistically, I mean, legally, you wouldn't even be able to test that theory, right? Morally, definitely no. Scientifically, there is no way to do it. Like, you wouldn't even be able to do that. No, not without invading on somebody. Like, that's gross.
The ability to say X group of children, say in a survey, they look at pornography this much. We put them through we put people through a trial. We say we expect there to be this much decline in their usage of pornography.
The trial is illegal.
Let me finish. And if we get
don't finish until you've resolved this issue.
Shut the fuck up, you literally are just afraid of science.
You cannot get past.
I know the scientific method makes your brain shut off.
You're normalizing.
You cannot get past.
Maybe you could actually try learning something for once.
By normalizing this in a clinical setting, you're providing kids with an argument for why they should be digesting sexual content outside of what's being dictated to them by their parents. If you
shout out to Neve, very coherent in this. Shout out to Neve. Took exactly what was being said, was able to disseminate it into very digestible conversation, and literally just threw it out there. I like. Damn, I would like to have I think if depending on what the conversation might be, I think it would be a fire conversation to have with me. It was very, very salient on the points. Very salient on the points. I love that. That was really, really good, because that's exactly what I was thinking in that moment.
You can say to your parent, sorry, mom, you don't want me to brush my teeth 3 days a week, but the dentist says that I should, so I'm going to do that. You're giving them an appeal to authority inside every single fucking household now. A child is going to have the ability to appeal to their psychologist over their parents' preferences.
You're just trying to run by the fact that you have to abuse children to get the data. Until you can establish that this data can be gathered without abusing children, it doesn't fucking matter. Your recommendation is to abuse children.
Abusing children is
what is it? The guys in the cave, like when they see the light and then they turn and then like they realize, like, you don't know until you know, right? You don't know until you know. So by even asking the question in a survey, if these children haven't been exposed to porn, they're going to now ask the question, what the fuck is porn? Why should I be looking at this?
Argument against having vaccine trials on kids. Oh, it might hurt them. Oh, moral panic. Like,
don't grandstand and move around.
I don't think that's comparable because that is an actual. Hold on, because there are other scientific ways you can test vaccines and so on and so forth before it even moves into human trial and all of those things. But now with the way you're testing, for the porn topic, now you're messing with the psyche, and that's not predictable. That's not something we can test on rats, right? That's the psyche. It's a totally different concept. And Don Juan coming in with the $4.99. The scientific method was made by Catholic under the premise of having moral high ground. It is through reason that we deducted different conclusions. And Finkel coming in with the Big Ten. The porn industry is well known for victimizing its actors. Letting kids watch is wrong on many levels. No cookie for Furby. Give the cookie to Flo. Flo, you get a cookie now.
We don't need to show stuff from the porn industry because we can also commission healthier pornography through the government.
I think I missed one.
What the fuck does that mean, you weird little bastard?
I know you're
What the fuck is healthier pornography? Okay, I need your thoughts, because obviously I'm not a porn aficionado. Can we have our thoughts from everybody here? What exactly is this aspect of the safe porn? What was exactly how it was said a moment ago? Like,
healthier pornography through the
government. I think I missed
one. What the fuck?
Wait, and that was that through the government? I heard
from the porn industry because we can also commission healthier pornography through the government.
I think I missed.
What is healthier porn through the government? What is that? You said Skinamax? Like, what is that? Are we like? Is this supposed to be like freaking like an Amish thing? Like you can only show calf? Like what's happening? What is this? What is this healthy, safe? Because I keep hearing all these words, these trigger words that are being used to try to describe how people should be moving in life. Safe, liberal, democracy, healthy. What is it? What is it I'm not seeing? Cinemax channel? Guys, tell me what is healthy, safe porn. Can someone tell me that? What is that? What is that? Because I can automatically tell you within my joking mind that the idea of safe and healthy porn is all in the family. So what exactly is, because you saw all these PDFs out there. So what's healthy? I don't even think you can find that anymore, sir. I don't think you can find missionary only. And you can still dig someone's back out with missionary. Have you ever seen some of these strong hand jobs? The way how these guys be acting like you change their life. So missionary may not be enough. It may have to be fingers only. Soft missionary? Oh man. Slow stroking only? Okay. All right. Robots don't have feelings. They're not gonna be nice to them, so that can't be safe. And what if somebody thrusts their pelvic too hard against their freaking robot and they hurt themselves? That's not safe. That's nasty. That's not safe. That's just nasty. Folks, what is safe? Ozymandias, what's going on? What is safe, folks? What is the safe and healthy. I don't think that, Zoomer, I don't think this is healthy. I don't think this is healthy. What is safe and healthy? What is that? Because I thought the most safest thing was abstinence. Now we're talking about safe sex. What is safe? Not even safe sex. Healthy and safe porn. What is that? But what is that? I have no idea what the hell that's supposed to mean. No, you don't, sir. That doesn't mean others don't. See, you had. You know what? No, we're not gonna get into it. It's not. This is not that kind of program. We're not gonna get into that. You need the proper kind of lubrication. That's all. It is outside the norm, absolutely, and I don't think that's safe. Heavy petting. That's weird. Like, what is safe? Oh no. I guess that's probably the safest thing I hear, but that just sounds like it's uncomfortable as hell. You'll never reach anywhere. I guess that's the. I don't like to read smut. I don't know how many guys is out there reading smut either. Right? Oh, you missed a bit. You missed a bit. I'm sorry you're not feeling good. But we're talking about kids having access to that. How are they not going to get more curious? Just saying. Oh, this man just gets worse. He gets worse every time. He literally went from bestiality to now freaking 2 girls in 1 cup as being safe and healthy. Sir, you did not hear the second part? Healthy? Healthy. How is that? Ugh. Ugh. That's crazy. And yet, we just heard the government. Why would the government be involved in healthy protection of the minors when it comes to sex? When has that ever been a thing? You want now healthy, safe sex to be regulated by the government? Is that what I just heard? The government? You said the government does this? Healthy and safe sex? Where, sir? Where? Barely anyone ever gets sex ed. They don't get it from schools. They don't even get it from their parents. No one really does. No one really gets sex. They're failing at that. Because if that's the case, there wouldn't be so much teen pregnancies. There wouldn't be so much of that bullshit out there. They are failing. I can see so many people that will tell me that they never had sex ed. I've never had sex ed. That is probably on a state to state basis, and that's a goddamn shame. I don't know about that because most kids are exposed to porn, just like there are 1 or 2 classes on sex ed. They get way more promotion out of freaking porn than they do out of sex ed. Their 1 or 2 classes is not going to help them for all of the swallowing of kids and everything else is going on out there. There are young people out there engaging in butt sex on a regular now. It doesn't mean healthy either, sir. Or pregnancy. And yet they get pregnant. You said sex ain't safe? You didn't say so. Wait. And I love this. When they give you direction in the porn video, what kind of video did they give you? Did they give you the old Ron Jeremy one, or they give you something that's up to date? Which one did they give you? Did they give you the one that, like I said, the old 70s, or did they give you the one that shows you basically that shows the POV or shows freaking stepfather, stepsister, stepbrother for? Is that which one they showed, huh? Because we know they didn't do the whole step brother steps, because that's new. So that means you must have got the old Ron Jeremy ones. The old, everybody had the freaking the greasy freaking Jerry curl porn going out there. I know that's what you must have got. You and I are the same age, so they probably gave you the same shit. No, don't tell me you don't remember the names. Don't tell me you don't remember. And you know you had the furry shit. The chick had the bush on. We know what it was. You're not gonna tell me you had something up to date where they were shaving and they were like faking it nicely. That's not what it was. It's not what it was. We know you got the old shit the same way how other people got the old shit too. OG said, wait a minute. Instructors. It's not like you got a live session with two people laying down on the ground and they just said, well, this is how it goes here. And he tucked in, this is how it goes here. See, everybody, he lift the leg. He lift the leg for people. This is how it goes. And everybody goes, oh, that's not the way that happened. You didn't get that kind of education. I know it. What are we talking about here? I know you didn't get that. And you said, oh, I don't remember the names, because I know it's full of shit. Don't say, look at this nigga. I'm calling you out, because I know you. No, you didn't. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're absolutely a liar. You think that they hired Josephine down the block, the old hooker, Josephine down the block, so they can give you the proper sex education? They didn't. They didn't. Hey, and you know what? To double down on that, hey, OG, this is what y'all did? This is what y'all did? Because y'all two Oklahoma niggas. So does that have the kind of education y'all got? Little Josephine down, the little crackhead Josephine down the block, and they had somebody show you how to insert it. Oh yeah, he said no, which means that you're a liar. I never lie. You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. And your Oklahoma brethren just sold you out on it. You're a liar, sir. You're a huge liar. I don't give a damn. It's the education system in the government, right? I don't want to hear nothing about that. Everybody know a little slutty Josephine. You didn't get the same shit. What are we saying here? Oh, wow. He put you out in Texas. God damn. Damn. He put you out in Texas, OG. He said you didn't get the same education that he did. That's crazy. Yeah, he was a woolly mammoth. Absolutely. So I know he got the old ass porn. I know he lying. I know he's lying his ass off. Now he just totally threw this man in a whole other district and say he's Texan. He's not really Oklahoman. He's not really from Oklahoma at all. He didn't get the same education. He said your education was pristine, sir. That's just messed up. This is messed up how he does that to you. I thought you two were lockstep, and now he just turned around and threw it. I said, you didn't get the same education. No one gives a fuck about that. No. And I know you lying, because that wasn't the big thing back then. Sir, you and I are the same age. That's sad. Sad. Wait, OG, because he threw you out in Texas, right? He threw you out in Texas. He said deep in the heart of Texas. He said, OG, did you also learn how to shave your balls from porn videos as he did? Did you also you pop the squat to be able to shave your balls? You got the same education as him? No, I didn't look at the wrong videos because I can tell you that sex education is not the same everywhere else, and that most people are not getting sex education anymore. They're not. All right, that's what I thought, OG. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Ain't no freaking porn videos teaching you how to freaking manscape. He a liar. He's a liar. I'm pretty sure if we asked everybody here in this damn chat, how many of y'all got proper sex education, never mind was able to be taught how to shave yourself, you're not going to be there. All of a sudden, he's the luxury one? All right. Okay. Clean shaven? All right. He says very dunkable? All right. Yeah, right. Because in your porn education, they also taught you how to teabag too, right? Right. Right. You hear him? Absolutely. This liar over here. He's a liar. He's a stay lying through his teeth. Damn. This is crazy. Yo, we know what that is. It just means to pull out. That's the pull out game. That's all it is. It's a pull out game. Reproductive education. It just means that when you're doing it, pull out, okay? That's it. This man's a liar. He lies in real time. It's amazing. He's talking about, sir, I never lie. You're a liar. No one gets that. Lauren said the sex that he got from school encouraged that makes sense. That makes a little bit more sense to me. Not the induction to porn that freaking this guy over here is getting. Talking about they teach him how to shave his balls to be dunkable, and he got old Jezebel down the street to come through and had somebody display how to put it in and how to break it down and how to discern the difference between a real moan and a fake moan. And this man's a liar. He's an absolute liar. Lawrence, yours makes sense. Yours make more sense. And then try to turn around and say that OG, who apparently got thrust into Texas all of a sudden, didn't get the same amount of education. All right, that's crazy. How was mine trash? I'm telling you, I didn't even get it. I did not even get it. How was it trash? And he gonna turn around and say that both these dudes who are out here representing Oklahoma, now he just threw him under the bus and turned around and say he didn't get it. He's a Game of Thunder Rat. He's a Thunder Rat. I can't. Yo, this is crazy. Yo, come on now. That makes sense, Mayo. That absolutely makes sense. He should just say it. He should just own up to it. Had the male neighbor come through and show him how to do it. He should just own up to it. I don't know if he skipped school that day and he just had the neighbor show him or whatever, but he should just say it. Well, he's not gonna sit there and tell me that that's what happened from the school. In fact, that's why he got little Josie to show up. That's why he got that freaking lesson. Ah, damn, Mayo, he deciphered the whole shit. Got little Josie to show up to the guy's house, and the guy was the one that showed him how to do it. There's no way they're gonna teach you how to shave your balls, and who's gonna be the janitor was gonna be the one to clean up your little hairs afterwards? No. We know exactly what it was. Mayo got it cooking. He did it. He solved the case. He solved the case. He absolutely solved the case. Now we know. Now we know this dude is full of shit. Now we got to question if he even went to school. Because OG said that's not how the way they was taught. I asked if little Josie was in there. He said, yeah. Oh, you hear this, man? No. Mayo done found you out. Now he going to my Mayo, why are you gay? You lying. Mayo makes more sense. Lawrence makes more sense. Mayo make more sense. OG makes sense. You're the only one that's not mathing up. You're not making no sense of this math whatsoever. Yeah, from Josie. Well, listen, Mayo, he don't broke it down. It's all good. We figured it out. You got street education. That's what you got. It wasn't no formal government education. That's not what happened. Look at it, Wiccan. Never had it. Never had it. I never had it. Never had it. Listen, apparently so. Apparently so. Because you know what she probably said, Yvette? I don't like throating and feeling hairs. That's probably what it was. And so he thought, I have to shave because she said that. That's probably what it was, Yvette. Or maybe he felt away. Maybe he felt away because after the education, she kept doing the whole. We know what that is. Flossing her teeth and shit. So that's where he got it from. He got the street sex ed. He didn't get that in school. Everybody else up here has either been told celibacy or basically that they didn't get it. This man's a liar. A full-fledged lie. I don't know why he lied. Mayo broke the case. His Oklahoma brethren OG said it didn't happen. Everybody else agreed that they didn't get that kind of education, the government education. He gonna be the only one to act like he's special. This liar. And then he goes, oh, she's a liar. No, she's not a liar. I didn't get it. She didn't get it. Freaking Mayo broke your shit down. Lawrence said he had the opposite. OG said that wasn't the case. The only one who's not matching up is you. You're the only one not matching up. He said they learned the right way. The right way. You're the only one that's not making sense, sir. He said he had a one-day session in 8th grade. One day. And then he had another one, another week in 10th. He said in Idaho. You hear this guy? See? It sounded like his education was better than yours. It seemed like everybody who at least got an education was going to be better than yours. And it seemed like those who didn't have an education is also in consensus. And they didn't have a little Jezebel named Josie walk up in there to try to teach you how to shave your balls. This don't make no goddamn sense. This don't make no sense. Oh no, damn, Conshani with the Private Ryan. That's where he learned to shave his shit. Damn, Private Ryan. That's messed up. That's messed up. Nah, no. Don't say you did go to school in Texas. No. Don't say you went to school in Texas now. No. You should have learned the right way. Don't try that. Oh, sorry. It wasn't Josie. It was Jennifer. You hear this? This is bull. Taught the game. There you go. Listen, Mayo broke it down. He broke it down. We got it. We understand. We understand. We got it. We got it. You were totally full of it. All right, we got you. I'm gonna break a little bit more down this bull about what's happening here. Let's see if anyone starts making a little bit of sense. Because so far, the only people that's really knocking it down and making some sense, I'm not gonna lie, it's Flo and it's Neve. Sarah definitely she heated with this shit. I get it too. I get it. Oh no. There's no might. He's absolutely lying. He's absolutely 1000% lying. Is what it is. Yeah, absolutely.
What the fuck does that mean, you weird little bastard?
I know you're afraid of anything you've never thought of yourself before.
There's no way for you to get around it. That you want to abuse children, just to see if abusing children.
Well, it really is, because all you can do.
Well, number one, okay,
this is a moral
and
panic on
actually,
display.
hold on. Jade has a good point here, and I'm gonna explain where my point's coming from. Coming in with the try creating some kids Furby before you spread bullshit. So
It's not bullshit.
That,
This all
well, hold on.
Kids will end up looking at
Hold on a
pornography.
second.
It's
I
not
want to
bullshit.
get to
That's
a point.
facts.
I want to get to a point. In order for you to even obtain this scientific process, you first have to obtain parental consent. I want to know what fucking parent is going to sign off on this bullshit.
One who really wants their kid to stop looking at worse and worse forms of pornography.
How are they going
only
to
have
like
access.
agree to like even the concept of it? Like, there's no way as a good parent, okay, as a good parent, I would never agree to my child.
It's not a sin. It's absolutely acceptable. You can fart during oral. It's absolutely acceptable. It is. I don't know anyone who goes up against it. It's okay. It's okay, Con. Don't shame her for that.
Being surveyed for how much porn they're fucking watching.
So again, if you are a parent who's dealing with kids who have an overactive sexuality, they're always looking at porn.
You take them the fuck outside. You run them around a park. You get them involved in
parents are working 9 to 5 every day.
Hold on.
Both parents are working 9 to 5 every day, so they don't have time to take care of
That is
kids.
total bullshit, and I'll tell
This
you
is all
why.
pipe dream bullshit
No,
in a world where both parents have to work jobs.
listen, and I will
This
give
is all
you
just
a
pipe dream
fucking
bullshit.
example. Hold
The
on.
Furby's not insane.
It's just a
Furby,
fantasy.
Listen,
It's just a
listen.
fantasy. Oh, parents
No,
have
shut
an
the
infinite
fuck
amount
up
of
for a
time
minute
for
and
their kids,
listen,
right?
because I work 9 to 5, and then my children, they get
So
off
you're a
the
streamer.
school bus. Yes, I work 9 to 5.
Why
and
are you
then my
streaming right now instead of taking care of your kids?
Oh, here it
Easy.
comes.
Ah, damn.
Easy.
Aren't you
That's an
singling-
easy answer.
singling
Oh,
out
that
the
now it
fuck-
offends
Somebody's
you.
gotta make
Now it
sure you're
offends
not
you.
trying to
When I
fuck
do it, it
them.
fucking defends you. You're a
Let
fucking
me hold
snowflake.
up.
You're
No,
just a
let me
fucking
explain
snowflake.
it to you. No, let me explain it to you. Why do I not stream until 9:15? Does anybody know this answer? Why do I not stream until 9:15 p.m.?
Well, the kids are in bed.
The kids are in fucking bed, Furby. A fucking genius concept
Be
that
looking
any
at
fucking
pornography
parent
right
could
now, and you
understand.
wouldn't fucking know, would you?
No, I know what they're doing. You don't
know,
need
there's
to
all
worry
sorts of
about my
software.
kids.
Oh,
Hold on. There's all
This
sorts
is
of, you can see what
probably-
people are looking at through all sorts of software.
This is true. I have
There's
all,
all
the fun
sorts of
little
parenting
apps.
apps. You can control
Yes,
access
but
points
it's
through the
fun
route, through
ways
your
around it.
There's all sorts of things parents can
Ask
do
any
besides
school-
letting
I believe
motherfuckers
we're
go
having
with
an
porn.
argument with the
Ask,
Furby.
ask any high school IT.
I am arguing with a Furby.
Get around it.
I understand kids look at porn. I cannot imagine that you're suggesting that because kids get a hold of porn, we should give them some and watch them.
Curated
Like
and
what?
You're
And
not
what?
watching them. Get your fucking mind out of the trash. I know that's what you want to be true. but I'm
Nice
saying
try.
Be alone
Nice
and
try.
Someone has to watch him because you want this goddamn study. Someone has to be the one watching. You say, "Oh, it's not the parents." Someone has to be watching them. So who's that person? That's still bad.
private
Oh my
setting.
God,
Holy
Gerbil, you're not going to be
What a
able
private
to. You
setting.
can't possibly
Literally
spin it around.
incapable of higher
Hold on,
dimensional
there's no
thought.
way you're good enough at
Literally
spinning to
incapable
spin
of
this
higher order
motherfucker to
thought.
where I'm creepy.
Your ignorant ass down.
That's fine. I'll stay ignorant.
This is
and,
one
and kids
time-
can stay away
Comprehend
from
what I'm
you.
saying. We
Look,
get it.
the-
You can't comprehend what I'm saying.
You can't
And
comprehend development in
you
children
can't
because
make
you don't
kids
understand.
people
You've
who
got the
haven't
scientific
gone through
understanding.
puberty
You
yet.
don't have any. You don't have a holistic understanding. You're not
That's why I
around
agree.
any.
I
Thank
want them to
God
look
you're not
at
around
healthier
any. but-
pornography. That's why I agree with you, Need. I want them to look at healthier pornography.
Okay. What if? What
is
if?
healthy pornography?
What if the
Like,
harm
what-
reduction? Mel, what if the harm
want more
reduction
inspiration,
approach
Sarah?
isn't the right approach? Maybe
Word.
we don't. Mel, maybe we don't enable every single fucking shitty thing that happens in society. Maybe we don't enable that. Maybe we increase
disable
the
it
amount
either.
of restrictions
actually
that we
disable
get. Maybe
it.
no, maybe we burden our internet service providers with the ability to whole block these sites for kids. Maybe
Fine,
we
do
attach
that.
an
That's
age
all we're
to
doing.
IP. Maybe we attach an age to IPs, and IPs don't allow children to access these sites. Why wouldn't we go there? Why wouldn't we go there?
on their
I no
own
longer
without
have an
you
argument. Good point.
participating it like we did, right? Even that's way preferable to let
Funny
kids
to
just
me,
be
Flo,
kids
say, wait your
without
fucking
you
turn.
participating
The
with it.
definite no, the
Turn.
technology exists to restrict or to completely restrict the access, and I would be in
What is
favor of
technology
doing
get
so.
around it, which kids have access to a lot more than you realize. For one thing, like I said, talk
How
to
do
any
you
kid,
know?
like,
First of all, the point that Neve makes absolutely makes so much sense. Now, you could go about. I mean, it's difficult. So to say that you want to burden your internet service provider to actually limit access to specific sites, while it could be done, it is a lot of unnecessary. Well, I won't say unnecessary, but it is a lot of work on the service provider. But let's just look at the other way around. If you have different devices on your network, right? If you assign the actual terminal that's going to be using it via IP address, right? DHCP, you can literally limit the access to amount of time that they have to be on the internet. You can limit the time frame to which they can be on the internet. And in fact, if you don't want to screw putting the limitation on the actual IP address, you can do it via machine. You can do it on your network via parental control. Why is it not being taken care of? If you assign a DHCP, if you assign every host an IP address, I know I'm getting a little in the tech side. You can do that. So every laptop, you know exactly what IP address is going to be at every laptop, every freaking tablet, every phone, everything. And if you only want your particular computer to be the one that access porn because you don't only want to fap off and you don't want anyone else to get their shit off, you can do that. Why aren't parents taking this initiative? And I think that was a great point that's made by Neve. Now, Neve said the IP address. I would just say if you really want to limit that within your household, parents themselves need to take that up. Like you can do that. Burdening the service provider, like I said, it's extra work. And if they make mistakes, then you may not be able to get what you want. But you can definitely do that within your own household. Like there's nothing stopping that.
How do you know that?
Because I've met a few.
No shit.
No shit.
Creepy as fuck.
It's creepy that I've met some high school ITs who work on computers at high school, and we like talking about computer science. You're the one who's weird because you can't get your mind out of the fucking gutter. And
make sure you don't talk to them about this,
responding to Nev or Neve or whatever the fuck it is, because everyone says it both ways and you never correct them.
I agree.
Furby.
I just want to say I agree with you
Furby,
that we should use the other method. But once they stop working, and once we find kids on
why are these weird assumptions being made? You keep making these insane assumptions so that you can justify watching stuff with kids. You're fucking weird.
Curation is when you control which forms of media people see.
That is weird. You're trying to okay, so which kinds? Okay, let me ask you what categories or genres do you think are acceptable for what age brackets? What about the 12 to 14-year-old age bracket? These out of control 8th graders, what kind
anal only? Like
no, you have to grapple.
See,
no, this isn't even fallacious. Mel, you have to grapple with this. This is your proposition, dumb fuck. This is your proposition. This is what you have to grapple with. This is what you have to fucking grapple with. Which categories, Mel? Which categories?
I've already answered the question.
Which ones?
Which is to give them healthier forms of pornography that actually.
What genres?
Tell us more. Yeah, tell us more about that. Tell us more about that.
Why did you want to know so badly if you're not the perverts here? I'm not the one.
Because you're making the prescription.
I want to
retard.
Know if you would recommend my 9 and 15-year-old. What kind of porn should they be watching? That's
I've got a 14-year-old. That's
Please
fantastic.
let me know.
We can all use your expert.
Anything is better than what's on the internet. Let's put it that way.
Everything's on the fucking internet. Which part of it would you recommend?
Everything is on the internet. Let's stop them from having access to everything.
Which, okay, of all the ways to do that,
what's that? Come on.
All the ways,
honestly,
all the ways. Okay,
well, that's a better position to have.
No, let me finish it because the implication is that, like, I don't have an answer. Of all the ways to prevent kids from getting online, you went to watch prawn with them. You fucking weirdo.
No, you're the weirdo who has to think it's with them every fucking time.
If you're monitoring it.
No, you're just curating it and putting it on a local system.
That's so fucking weird. That's so goddamn weird.
I know.
Why would you?
Who wants to curate? Listen, I have a problem curating just content to be able to have these conversations with you guys. What parent, on top of being at work, on top of trying to make sure that they're trying to provide the best life that they can for their children, a healthy dynamic for their children, will then want to turn around and curate pornographic content for their children? How does this position make any sense whatsoever? No matter how I look at it, it just gets bad and it gets worse over time. This is crazy.
Why would you make it? Why would you make it easier? Okay, here's a concept, right?
We're making
Kids,
it harder.
hold on a second. Hold on.
Everything.
Kids,
No,
kids
I'm
will
answering
like.
you. You already.
I'm gonna give you an analogy, okay? Kids will
That's
go
why you're
out
just
and they
twiddling
will
them out.
get a hold of alcohol, right? They find their ways. Everybody has a plug at some point as a teenager, right? But their access to it is incredibly limited.
I was that
all right.
plug.
So you were the plug. You probably still are. But they go out and they can
We're
only
over
get a
21
hold
now.
of. Would you shut up? They can only get
I'm
a
just
hold
saying,
of
they can buy their own
a
alcohol
bottle
now.
of this or maybe a 6-pack of that, but it's incredibly limited, right? Why would I go in and be like, hey guys, let me be your full-time plug. I'm going to get you any and everything you want, but it's going to just be limited to like certain things that are okay for you, but not that bad, right? But I'll get you all of the okay stuff. It's
Just
not
a
that
6-pack
bad.
of wine coolers, like every To Catch a
Right.
Predator
It's a bunch
episode
of it's a
ever.
6-pack of Zimas. I'll get you all the Zimas you want because they're not that bad. But they're bad, but they're not that bad. But I'll just forever be that plug for all the Zimas you can ask for all day, any day. Like, I would much rather my kids be limited, right? And they have to figure it the fuck out, right? And then I'm still mitigating. I'm still in control of the scenario as much as I can be as a parent, but I know their access is still restricted to these small scopes.
No, it's not virtue signaling. It's protecting kids in an obvious way.
It's also it's also Mel. It's also practical.
Yeah, again,
it's also fucking practical. Not one bit of what she said was fantastical stuff that's impossible.
Barriers are no longer there because
Listen, your little angry voice.
And you're worried that they're just going to access worse and worse websites. The better alternative is instead of having.
Wait, do you think? Hold on.
Let me finish. I'm going to answer your fucking question.
Finish on this one. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Oh my God, Furby, hold on.
Control yourself.
Who the fuck are you? Listen for a second. I need you to hear this out. Do you think that the kids will stop? Do you actually believe?
Sarah, you've cut me off 3 times in a row.
You don't get to finish, motherfucker.
Do you actually
believe? Let me fucking finish.
No, I need you to hear
can't actually hear anything I have to say.
I don't want to hear it at this point.
Thinking ways out of this moral.
I could just click this little button right here. Do you actually believe that the kids will stop at what you limit them at?
And that's the point I was making earlier.
Really believe this concept? Because if I say,
why we want research.
Hold on a second. I have more to this. If I say, hey kids, you can have all the alcohol you want. I'm going to give you all the Zima 6-packs you want all day long, any day, all day, whatever, as much as you want. Do you think they'll actually stop there? Or do you think they're still going to be like, fuck this shit. This is boring. I need more. Do you really think they're going to stop?
Studies show that this is the case. Then yes, if they show that
if they show this
thought it would, then no. It's pretty basic.
Okay. Well, Mel, time for another rebrand. Everyone knew you as Ninetales now. It's Furby. What are you going to come back next time until people find out that you're of this
Jared from Subway?
I think I'm gonna just end it from there. That it was crazy. It was a very crazy position to actually for people to be in. It was a conversation. Like I said, I didn't know I really wanted to get into it, but I do want the context of what was being put up. And it's just crazy how people can have these particular thoughts, and again, with no real experience, no tangible experience of how does a person even, like, I'm just confused. How does a person even make this kind of talk, this kind of decision that they make for themselves, whether they are a parent or whether they are a guardian of someone else in some capacity? This has to be for people who have never been in a position to ever have to look at any adolescence whatsoever, unless there is some other form of an affliction. This is within my humble opinion. And I think it's something that we really need to talk about with our friends or our families, we have these particular discussions, or if we are sitting alone in our own minds and we need to have this thought about how we're going to be not just doing this for ourselves, but also for the people that our loved ones, whether it's our own children or our nieces or our nephews or friends, kids of friends and family. Because folks, there are people who do have these particular point of views. What exactly do we do about that? What exactly do we do about that? Because quite frankly, in the world that we are now, they are allowed to, of course, have a voice and to try to push forth legislation that will have these type of things take forth and take place on our children and your friends' children and everyone's children. Guys, I am going to pretty much end out the stream on that. I do want you guys to actually pretty much have a conversation with your friends, with your family, everything else like that. Uncle Fatty. I'm about to close out the stream, my guy. I'm about to close it out, my guy. Sorry. But I'm gonna take a little bit of breather. I'm gonna think about this because I know for some point I had a little bit of my own bias starts crawling into a couple of things. But then also as well, what I want you to do is to really think a lot about what are your thoughts on this. Again, this affects everybody on a lot of different levels, a lot of different decisions. It doesn't have to be just something that's personal to us, but it's a conversation that we should all be having. And it's about also how parents may have a point when they want to be overprotective when it comes to their children, because quite frankly, we're in a little bit of a different age than we were when we were actually coming up. And I get it changes from age to age to age to age. But those kids might actually have a bit of validity when they say that you just don't really understand what's going on here. And I think that if we're going to have children, we need to do our due diligence in trying to understand a little bit about what's going on in their world. Kids today are being raised too fragile, or whether the world just wants to become a more dangerous place is another conversation that we should really have. It's clear that parenting today pretty much comes with this whole new set of challenges. But maybe the real question isn't about really the kids or about really even being fragile. It's about how we as a society can better prepare those little faces that we see growing up throughout the ages for the world that they're dealing with today and for the world of the future. Guys, I'm going to be signing off here. You probably will catch me over on LA's channel later on. For those who have to sign up, subscribe to him, do so. And if not, you see me anywhere else within the streets on social media, feel free to say hi to me. I will say hi, of course, back. And with that being said, take care of yourselves, take care of your family, your loved ones, take care of those beautiful, beautiful kids of yours, whether they're even adults now or they're still growing up. And of course, have the conversation with many people. Share this to someone who might actually be needing this kind of conversation in the future. And of course, stay opinionated. See you in the next one.